Hey everyone, welcome back to Fantasy Endgame. Here to help you out because those waivers are going to run soon. You need probably a little bit of help because there were just a few injuries in week 2. I know a lot of you staring at an empty lineup or one that's full of guys that just says that little out next to it. Yeah, I'm there. Chris, I'm sure you're there too. A lot of
Yep.
lineups just been decimated. It's just going to be who can survive, right? It's like the guillotine league is not supposed to be for everybody, right? It's just like one team gets chopped. It's like half of everyone's team is already getting chopped. That's how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always say fantasy football, the most important thing in fantasy football is attrition and having the healthiest team. But right now, I mean, we're only in week 2. Not supposed to be this way already.
It is not. It is not. And so we've already gone over some of the big injuries. Last night we didn't even know that Debo was going to be hurt because didn't hear anything about that on Sunday. And like as we were on streaming, then we got that news, I think, just before, or maybe in the middle of the stream. So we've already discussed the San Francisco situation. Of course, you already know about the Pacheco situation in Kansas City. Let's see who's running out to grab the war horse. Or do you, for whatever reason, prefer Samaje Perine? Or door number 3, here comes Kareem Hunt. He is officially back. I know some people didn't think that a reunion would happen, but here it is. So, I know we did talk about this last night, of course, but now it's official. We know Kareem Hunt is in the mix.
Right.
Is Carson Steele still your first choice? Is Kareem Hunt a choice? I mean, he's obviously a choice. Is he a good choice?
Steele is still my first choice out of these 3 guys. I mean, let's not forget Kareem Hunt. Last year, I know people are going to point to the Jerome Ford thing, and trust me, I know, because I had a lot of Jerome Ford last year. I know all about it. You don't need to remind me how terrible that was. But Kareem Hunt was with the Browns the year before. Kareem Hunt has not been with the Chiefs for 3 years, 4 years. How long has it been since Kareem Hunt's been with the Chiefs? Like, this isn't, it's not like last year with the Browns where they're like, well, we're familiar with this guy. He was just on the team last year. Also, this guy is awful. I mean, even last year, I don't care how big of a Kareem Hunt fan you are. He was awful last year. So, I mean, look, there's a chance that he does what he did last year with the Browns, and Jerome Ford gets, well, I'm comparing to last year, right? Like Jerome Ford would get like 4 or 5 catches, 70, 80, 90, 100 yards, but then Kareem Hunt would have like 10 yards and a touchdown. And it's just like, why? Now, if there's a benefit for Steele versus Hunt, it says Steele's a big dude. He's bigger than Ford. Like, Steele isn't a guy that you have to like, oh, we can't give him goal line carries. So Steele's still the guy I want, but I mean, I certainly think like you got to be a little more careful here now. You can't, maybe pull back on the fab a little bit. And if you don't get him, it's okay, because there is a chance. I'm still of the belief that Andy Reid is a smart enough head coach that he's going to see Kareem Hunt out there killing them and be like, okay, no. Kareem Hunt mania.
Not going with a Kareem Hunt mania.
I mean, let's not also forget this. This offseason, Kareem Hunt's just sitting there. He's just sitting there. And they said, no, we want Samaje Perine instead. So, I mean, look, I can't pretend like Kareem Hunt isn't going to have an effect here. And again, we know Pacheco back in 6 to 8 weeks, so it's not like this isn't like Jerome Ford last year where it's like I get Jerome Ford every week for the rest of the season. So yeah, probably pull back the fab a little bit on Carson Steele. But if I'm going after a Chiefs running back, he's still the one I want.
Steele, not Hunt. All right.
No. God, I mean, even if you told me Kareem Hunt was going to do exactly what he did last year, do you want Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, I mean, if you are that bad, I mean, if you need him because you lost Pacheco and CMC or somebody else, like just not startable, like a DeAndre Swift or whatever, I mean, it could be worse, but then again, it's not going to really make that big a difference, is it? Look, I think I agree. Carson Steele's still the one I want the most if I need somebody, but You know what? I take a step back the more I really think about this. It's like, let's not just do this again with the Chiefs running backs. Like, until Pacheco came along recently, we knew what the deal was. Is Chiefs running backs were always so overvalued, overhyped. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has never actually been valuable in fantasy, except for the weeks where nobody started him and he randomly scores 2 touchdowns. One of the bigger busts of recent time in running backs. And we do this over and over again with guys who will have a few good games and then disappear, or we think they're going to go off and then they don't. Remember, somebody brought this up. I had not thought of the name Charkandrick West for a long time. Remember that guy? Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people spent a lot of fab on him back in the day, which was not that long ago. Still the Andy Reid era. So, yeah, the more I think about it, it's like, okay, it's going to be Carson Steele, and then on third downs, it's going to be P. Ryan, and once in a while, it'll be Hunt. And when they get to the goal line, they're just going to throw it, to an offensive lineman. It's like, let somebody else, overpay for Chiefs running back. That's kind of where I'm at. And if I am going to get somebody, it's not going to be Kareem Hunt. So there we go. And we will get to, thank you, Boomer. That was the first comment. We will get to more of your comments and questions, of course. Let's also talk about Tua Tagovailoa. He's, of course, out, but not just this week and next week, but he has been placed on IR. Seemed logical because the estimates was the last time he had a concussion, it was 4 weeks. 4 weeks just makes sense here. So we knew this was coming, seemed inevitable, but, Skylar Thompson, the only thing they have done at quarterback is get Tyler Huntley. Doesn't make me feel great.
No.
Are you any more worried now about guys like Jalen Waddle? I know you're not too worried about Ty Hill.
Yeah, no change for me here. I mean, this was not, like, no one should be shocked by this. I mean, I think it probably would have been more shocking if they didn't put him on IR. So no one should be shocked by this. I still think Tyreek Hill will be okay with Skylar Thompson. I certainly worry about Waddle with Skylar Thompson. But I also don't think, I think we're seeing Tua at some point this season. Maybe in 4 weeks. Well, 5 weeks, I guess, because he's got to be out for 4 weeks. So maybe in 5 weeks, we see Tua back. So I do feel like this is a good buy low window. More so for Hill than Waddle. I mean, you can buy low on Waddle, but I just think you might have like 4 weeks where you wish you didn't have Waddle, or more. Like if Tua misses 5, 6, 7 weeks, you might be like, oh man, I really wish I didn't have Waddle right now. But Hill, I think, is a great buy low because I think people are going to be panicked. They're going to be freaking out. They're going to be like, get me out of here. I talked about it on the buy low video. If you can take 2 solid starters, like say, hey, here's a good wide receiver. Here's a good running back. You don't have to worry about Tua anymore. I think not in every case, of course. There's going to be people who are like, nah, I'm not giving up Hill for that. But I think in a lot of cases, you can probably get Tyreek Hill and then potentially in the second half of the fantasy season have a top 3 fantasy player.
That would be nice. Well, I already see, just from the questions I can see on the screen, we have a lot of Waddle questions. We're going to get some, and that's fine. It still depends. There's hardly ever a player we'd say absolutely have to sell or absolutely should buy, because it always depends for what. Because again, this isn't a season-ending situation. If that were the case, and I knew Skylar Thompson was a quarterback for the rest of the season, then maybe I could say unequivocally, just go ahead and sell Waddle. Just take what you can get. But that's not the case. So it really depends. And of course, that's why we're here. I'm trying to answer those tough questions because every situation is different. But yeah, it is crazy times. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening, not just with the injuries. I mean, so many players out for multiple weeks, right? Offense is down. All of a sudden, like, quarterbacks just don't throw the ball anymore. Like, it's a passing league, but not this year. I saw a stat where something like Saquon Barkley and Bijan Robinson have more rushing yards than like Hurts and Cousins have passing yards or something like that.
Well, this has actually been a trend for a few years now where we're seeing kind of like teams are going, because so many teams. I think the stat right now through the first 2 weeks is like 62% of defenses have played 2 high safeties across the entire league. So they're just like, right. This is the Patrick Mahomes effect, right? It's like, if you're going to score on us, you're going to go 10, 15 plays down the field. You're not going to score on one big play. That's kind of how defenses are playing right now. And one of the very good ways to attack that is to run the football, because of course you got safeties deep, right? It just makes it easier to run the football. So I think we are seeing this kind of like everything. I feel like everything in life is cyclical. It just keeps going in a circle, almost like the earth. And we get to, like maybe like 5-6 years ago, we were at like the tip of like the passing, where like passing is everything. Like don't even run the football. Like if you run the football, you're not even an offense anymore, right? And now we're kind of going back this way, where it's like, oh, hey, running the football is really good. And so, I mean, even look at fantasy. Running backs are just dominating right now.
And yeah, it doesn't help, or I guess it does help for that situation, that the wide receivers, the star wide receivers, are the ones getting hurt, not the running backs. We thought running back, it's always riskier to take running back. Puka, Kupp, AJ Brown, Debo. It's the receivers who are getting injured here, not the running backs. That's what's also kind of odd. Of course, CMC accepted. So yeah, it would be nice. I wouldn't mind if it kept going all the way around, back to the days where every team used exactly one running back for every running play, and there was just like one halfback and a fullback who, like, once in a while, like, dove at the goal line or got caught a pass. Just one running back, and we're like, we know who the guy is on every team. Like, that's the running back. Like, what do you mean?
Just one guy getting like 30 carries, like
one guy.
Sean Alexander back in the day, just like 400 carries. It was like, oh yeah, you're just like a top 5 running. 400 carries, you're like, hey, you're in the top 5 running backs.
I'm like, yeah, you're a starter. Yeah, much simpler times back then. But alas, it's very complicated these days, very different. So that's why you got questions, and we will do our best to give you answers. So we'll get to you as much as possible. You know how this works. If you are throwing down a super chat, we will definitely answer your question, because, of course, you paid to have that shown and answered. That's what it's for. So that's like your fast pass. Got the membership, like Sir Boomer and others. Of course, we'll get to our guys there. First, before we do get to those questions, I need to remind you that if you haven't tried Underdog, this is a good time to do it. Now, once again, they're doubling down on this, because Aaron Rodgers did come through with a yard in week 1, and they're going to take the chance he does it again in week 3. Aaron Rodgers getting 1 yard. Why is it he no longer deserves a picture now? It's just his jersey. Are we like not showing him?
Actually, I think we got an email today. I think it's something with the NFL like licensing rights for the player pictures. I don't know. I think this is like an NFL issue.
So it's not just like they couldn't locate him on picture day because he was out like in the mountains or something. Like,
I mean, possibly, but I think last time he had a picture, so I don't know.
Interesting. Well, you can clearly see that is Aaron Rodgers jersey. So now this is for new customers. So talking to everyone here who might, for some reason, have not yet tried Underdog. If you are going to be new to the app and you want to check it out, go ahead and do that. You get this free pick. Aaron Rodgers is getting a yard, and everybody, existing or new customers, still get, for this week right now, CeeDee Lamb free pick, just getting a yard. So you can go take advantage of that right now. And of course, they always have daily promotions. It was More Money Mondays, and then today was I think another profit boost token. Got vulture protection. There's so many cool things on there, ways to help you win. So all you have to do, if you haven't done it already, sign up on Underdog using code ENDGAME. If you use that code when you first sign up, then you get those free picks plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash for your first deposit. So definitely worth checking out. And of course, our app, it's called Draft Lane. Now, Draft Lane, with this app, what you can do is exactly what we're doing here. You can reach out to us, ask questions, we'll answer them, but without having to wait your turn in line necessarily for the live queue, and you can do it any time of the day. So if you sign up right now on Draft Lane, which again, the app is completely free, so go to the App Store, go to the Play Store, search Draft Lane, and there it is. You download it, and then just to start out, everybody who is a new customer there, you're going to get $10 credit in your account to use for any of those things I've talked about. And there's even a lot more I haven't even mentioned yet. So check it out. Again, that new customer deal for a limited time as we kick off this season. So great time also to try that out. All right. And of course, if on a Tuesday night while we're talking here, somebody just randomly decides to have a high ankle sprain, on the way back from the facility or something, get run over by a golf cart in the practice field, we'll let you know, because I just feel like that's going to happen this year.
Yeah,
but
it seems like it.
I'm not even kidding. Like someone's just going to randomly get hurt. All right. So Boomer, thinking of dropping Bucky Irving for Carson Steele. Who do you prefer?
I mean, I probably prefer Steele because I think there's less resistance in front of him. But I don't really want to drop Bucky Irving.
So he's asking a streaming tight end question. I assume that means you just have one of those. Drop Jacoby. Would you drop Jacoby Myers to have Carson Steele?
I mean, I might. Like, what is... I'm really regretting that I ever fell for Jacoby Myers. I mean, I was off him until like middle of August. I'm like, I don't see it. What is everybody's fascination with Jacoby Myers? And then finally I was like, oh, Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Myers, I get it. I wish I just stayed with not.
Oh, he hasn't been terrible.
I mean, he hasn't been good. Like what like 7 points, 8 points. I mean, I guess it's better than 0, but are you ever starting Jacoby Myers?
Not yet, but bye weeks are coming up. But anyway.
Oh, even for bye weeks, I might just take the 0.
Just out of spite. Yeah, I mean, right now you can drop Jacoby Myers. That's fine, right? Having that potential running back with some touches, sure, do that. Now to stream, if you're talking about tight end here, Hunter, if that's Hunter Henry, I think it's got to be Hunter Henry.
Got to be Hunter Henry. I mean, look, it could be a trap coming off a big game, but at the same time, I mean, Ertz, Jonnu Smith with Skylar Thompson, I think it's got to be Hunter Henry.
Yeah, definitely. All right, here come the Waddle questions. Start with Python. What is up? Would you trade Waddle, Singletary, and Pittman for any stud?
Not for any stud, but I would trade them for some studs, like probably CeeDee Lamb, probably Breece Hall, probably Bijan, probably Amon-Ra, probably Jefferson. That might be where it ends, though, because you're still giving up. Like, I still feel like Waddle and Pittman will be fine as the season goes on. So yeah, I'll trade them for any of those guys I just listed, but that's probably it.
Not Chase.
Chase is so tough because, like, I said this in the offseason when I did like my what I think the first round should look like, and I had Chase at like 7 or 8, and I got so much crap for that, of course. And I said, what has Chase really done to make us feel like he's a locked-in top 5, top 4 pick? Like, okay, he had a very good rookie season, but remember, a big part of that rookie season was there a week 17 back then, or was it still week 16? Whatever the final week was for the fantasy season. Remember, he had like 200 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns or whatever. Yeah. He really was. I mean, he was still good for a rookie that year. I'm not taking anything away from him, but you take that game out, it's like an 1,100-yard season. It's like, okay, it's good. That's not significantly better than like Chris Olave did as a rookie or Garrett Wilson did as a rookie, and they were in way worse situations than him. Then you look at the last 2 years, sure, he's been good. And you could say, okay, 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, or 3 years ago now, whenever it was, he was having a great season. Then he got hurt. But last year, of course, wasn't very good. And you can say, well, Burrow was hurt. Burrow wasn't healthy. Well, look at Justin Jefferson last year. He had to play with Nick Mullins, and he still was great almost every game. So I don't know. I know I'm in the minority here, but I'm not convinced. Like, I feel like Chase is. I'm not saying like Chase is bad or anything. By the way, I'm not saying like, but I feel like he's like maybe a little bit overrated as far as like studs go.
I'm with you. It probably is a minority, but that's exactly what I've been saying. I've been saying that more vocally about Burrow. I think he's overrated. It's true. Chase for fantasy, look, talk about real life, who's the best, whatever. We don't care. This is fantasy. For fantasy, he has not put up multiple elite seasons. And his best season was his rookie season, which we're now 3 years removed from. So it's like, I know. Anyways, we'll move on from that. But yeah, I sure trade him for a legit stud receiver. Sure. Or one of those top running backs too.
Yep.
All right. How about Pittman here? Which, by the way, I would also say Waddle. We know why we're worried about Waddle. Pittman, I'm really starting to think I might have some doubts here of how he's going to fit in this offense with Anthony Richardson. So I'm starting to get a little worried. So Alan Wendling's wondering, would you trade Pittman for Zay Flowers today?
Yeah, just give me Zay Flowers. Just give me Zay Flowers. He's the clear number one in Baltimore. I'm a little worried for Pittman too. Not so much because of Richardson, but because we're actually seeing like Alec Pierce. Not just Alec Pierce like random deep shot, like Alec Pierce getting 5-6 targets. A.D. Mitchell getting 5 or 6 targets. We haven't even gotten Josh Downs back yet. What happens when Josh Downs is back? Like my worry here for Pittman is just that maybe it just doesn't all funnel through Pittman anymore. Maybe the ball gets spread out too much. Plus, you factor in an offense that probably is going to run more than they pass most weeks. Yeah, I feel like Pittman may not live up to his ADP this year. So just give me Zay Flowers.
Yeah, give me Zay Flowers too. I saw a stat today, which I don't know, I haven't really dug into it. It was on social media, so of course it must be true, that on RPO plays for the Indy offense, Pittman has 0 targets.
Which is crazy.
Which is exactly, that is crazy. He should be the first read there. And if you're not running it, he's something. I know it's only been 2 games, but still, yeah, I'm nervous. So I would go Flowers too. And then back to the Waddle. Vinny, what is up? Would you trade Waddle for CMC? Wow, interesting. And nice call on Godwin.
Yeah, I think Waddle for CMC. I mean, assuming Waddle, like you're deep at wide receiver. I know I see, people are like, this is it. This is a career ending for him. I mean, okay, maybe. Look, maybe. I can't sit here right now and say this is it. Like, we're not going to see CMC, or like we're for sure going to see CMC this year. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't see him this year. But this is like, I mean, I always say this, like you don't win fantasy football by just playing safe and like tiptoeing around, and like you don't win by getting like, oh, I know this guy will get me 10 points. Okay, just put him in there. Like this guy might get me 40, but I know this guy will get me 10, so just give me the guy who will get me 10. You know what I mean? Like that's not how you win in fantasy football. Like there's every year you can point to 5 to 10 guys and say if you had those guys, you probably won the championship. That's it. That's literally it. Like go last year. CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua. Who am I forgetting?
To some extent, Sam Laporta.
Tyreek Hill, Sam Laporta. I mean, there's not that many, right? There's just not that many. It's not like there's 50 studs out there that just go off every week and like, oh yeah, it's like, no, I'll just keep Waddle because he goes no. So, like, I get the risk for CMC. I totally understand. Like, we may not see CMC this year. You may trade Waddle for CMC and never get CMC. But if you get a healthy CMC at some point, he literally is one of those 5 guys or 10 guys that literally will carry you to a championship. So, and we also don't know about Tua. It's not like we know for sure Tua's coming back. So, I probably just, I mean, unless you need, if you need Waddle, like if Waddle is going to kill your wide receiver room, then keep Waddle. But I probably just gamble on CMC here. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like I'm trying to win a championship. I'm not playing for 3rd place, 5th place.
Yeah, because you're waiting at least 4 weeks for CMC. realistically, more like they're saying like 6, I think. I mean, who knows?
Right.
It's going to be at least 4 weeks until Tua comes back. So, how great do you feel about Waddle? I say sure, why not? I did trade for CMC in one league, but I will say that happened. It was after he missed week 2, after we knew he was injured, but before he went on IR. It was before we knew how serious it was, before the setback, in other words. I mean, we'll see. Maybe it pays off. But I don't hate this. Thomas. Got Kyron, Achane, Jacobs, Mason. Would you trade one, I guess, of those guys for Nico since you're deep at running back?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I don't want to trade Achane. I'll say Jacobs is probably the one I'd want to trade away the most. I know right now you're like, oh my gosh, he just got 32 carries. Like, how do you trade away Jacobs? Well, it's not going to, like, when Jordan Love comes back, they're not going to run the ball 32 times again, right? No. So Jacobs' value is going to take a little bit of a hit. I mean, he'll still be fine. Like, I'm not like, oh, he'll still be fine, but it's going to take a little bit of a hit when Jordan Love comes back. And there's talk it might even be week 4 now. So Jacobs would be the one I'd want to trade away the most. Probably Kyron second, because you got to be a little worried about this Rams offense now. I mean, at least in the short term, they'll probably lean on Kyron, but also they'll probably be a bad offense now, right? With Puka and Kupp out. Yeah, those are the two guys I'd probably be willing to give up for Nico. I mean, Mason's close, but again, like I just said with CMC, if CMC never comes back, Mason is probably going to be one of those guys you look back on and say, if you had Mason, your chances of winning the championship went way up. So I don't want to trade him if I have it.
Yeah, no, and I hear that. That's absolutely true. Especially if you plucked Mason off waivers, I mean, it could be this year's Kyron.
Right.
My question for Thomas is obviously you can't start all of these guys unless you have a 2 running back league. And if so, you're flexing 2 running backs. Maybe you can, but obviously you're looking at this trade for a reason. You're not going to start all of the running backs. Then who are you keeping in your lineup come week 17, right? Championship the line. Let's, again, assume somehow all of these guys are still healthy by then. I'm starting Achane. You're probably starting Kyron. The one I would have the most doubt about is whether, of course, Mason still has that job because CMC is back. To me, I think I would probably trade Mason to eliminate that risk, because I don't think that you're losing anything by having Achane, Kyron Williams, or Jacobs instead of Mason. If not, then Jacobs will be the other guy. Though I now definitely feel better about Jacobs because Marshawn Lloyd is pretty much out of the picture. I mean, he's on IR too, which we didn't mention that because nobody really had Lloyd except for as a stash. That Jacobs is clearly just going to be a workhorse again all season long because there's nobody else there to threaten him. So it could be any. I mean, you might just have to ask the Nico owner, who does he prefer?
Right.
All right. How about this one? Antoine. Everybody wants Nabers after he decimated that Commanders defense. Do you sell him now?
This is a great time to sell Nabers because he's coming off that huge game and now he's going to go on the road to Cleveland.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to get 10 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown against Cleveland. And here, I think what was lost, and look, this is 0% on Nabers. This is absolutely 0% on Nabers and 100% on Daniel Jones. But I think what was lost in that huge game last week, and Nabers was fantastic, and Nabers is going to be fantastic. He's going to be a fantastic NFL player. To catch 10 passes, he needed 18 targets. That's barely a 50% catch rate against the Commanders, where he's running around wide open the whole game. What about this week when Daniel Jones is under severe duress from Myles Garrett all game and he's not wide open? How many, 18 targets, he might still only catch 5 passes. I mean, and again, this is 100% on Daniel Jones. This is nothing. Don't go in the comments saying I hate Nabers. I dislike Daniel Jones as a quarterback for my fantasy players. That's what I'm talking about here. So, yeah, if you can, I mean, it depends obviously what you can get for Nabers when you say the highest bidder. Somebody's like so high on Nabers that they're gonna who's like a Like, who's a good kind of like stud buy low? Like, if somebody's like, Nico Collins is just okay, or like, I don't know, Rashee Rice is just okay, or Devonta Smith is just okay. Like, yeah, just give me those guys. Just give me those guys.
This is a good time to sell Neighbors. Exactly. So highest bidder, it needs to be high. Hey, start that bidding war. Put it out there. Say, hey guys, look, I know a lot of you, whether it's true or not, maybe you only get one offer, but just put a post in the league message board or whatever, your text group. Look, I know I've gotten a lot of interest on Neighbors. I want to respect all of you and listen to these offers. So just understand, I'm gonna get back to you as soon as I can. But this is your last chance before I pull the trigger on one of these deals. And then see what happens. All right, give it 24 hours. So nothing like, throwing a little gasoline on the fire there. Nothing wrong with that. Gabriel, good evening. Drop Bigsby, not Bill Bixby, for, I'm guessing, Juwan Jennings. Carson Steele, Braylon Allen, Finn at wide receiver. Those are wide receivers. Would you drop Tank for one of those guys?
Yeah, get Jennings. If you're thin at wide receiver, get Jennings. I mean, you got to think at least for the next few weeks, he's got to be the wide receiver 2 there with Debo out. I mean,
yeah, looks like Darnell Mooney, your wide receiver 2.
Yeah. Don't go. So you're asking how much fab? Don't go too crazy on Jennings. Again, Debo's only expected to miss a few weeks here. I know Jennings like kind of had a role even with Debo healthy, but I would say, I mean, because you need wide receiver, like 10% max on Jennings, and you might even, of course, the thing about fab, like I've had to learn this because I'm used to playing in like end game leagues where if you don't go for that guy, you are not getting him. You are not going to get him, right? Like, you just aren't. Like, don't try to nickel and dime your way to fab pickups on in-game leagues. It's not happening. Not happening. But then I play in a league with a friend of mine, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, like, we're in it's a 14-team super flex league. We went 0 RB. Our running backs are Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary, but I mean, like, a 0 RB running back room. I'm like, how much do you think we need to bid on Carson Steele? Like, because he's going to be an upgrade over Gus Edwards. My friend's like, I don't know, $7, $8. I'm like, are you kidding me? There's no way we're going to get it. But then I think about it. I'm like, oh, wait, in that league, we probably will get him for $7 or $8. In the end-game leagues, he's probably going to go for $20, $30. I don't know. Like, so yep. You got to know your league and know how aggressive your league mates are. But at the same time, you don't want to miss out because FAB isn't going to score you fantasy points. So I'd say like 10 max because you really need them. But again, if your league is like they don't even look at the waiver wire, you can go a little lower.
Right. You could use him. But at the same time, Debo's not out for the season. He will be back hopefully in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, I think 10 is about right because you never know when somebody better comes along. Injuries will continue to happen. So, yes. Yeah. All right, let's get to another member. Moises, hello. As an owner of Fields and Caleb Williams, how much are you spending to get Derek Carr?
I mean, so you say most teams have 2 QBs on the roster already, so chances are they're not going to be grabbing Derek Carr.
It's true.
And also, despite how good he's been the first 2 weeks, he's still Derek Carr. Maybe $5.
Let's also, after 2 games, not get too carried away with this Saints offense. I mean, come on. It's still the same guys. I know a new offensive coordinator, yes, makes a big difference. It's still the same guys as last year. Their offensive personnel are the exact same. So, look, their offensive line has been really good so far. Derek Carr has been on point so far. But it's still Derek Carr. Just saying. So, no, don't go too crazy here. A few bucks should do it. Right, and then speaking of members, AJ Fisk just got that membership. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, AJ. What's up?
So let's do his question. 0-2, it's a 10-team PPR. Got JT Mixon, Brown, Moore, Ingram, Cooper, Deontay, Moss, Spears. Was offered Diggs, Pickens, and Aaron Jones just for Joe Mixon.
I think you got to take this. I mean, I still haven't really heard anything. Have we heard anything on the Joe Mixon angle yet?
Actually, no, I don't even think so. Not that I can remember.
Okay, so I'm seeing here it says isn't considered long-term or anything serious. Not really sure what that
doesn't
means.
tell us anything about week 3.
Right.
He probably misses this week and then comes back next week.
But even still, I mean, look, I don't think the Joe Mixon we saw in week 1 is the Joe Mixon we're getting all year.
No.
Look, Diggs is what he is at this point. I mean, he's had 2 games now under 40 yards. He's either going to catch a touchdown or he's going to do nothing, right? That's just who he's going to be. That big play game isn't there, and he's obviously not going to get a massive target share because Nico's there. But Pickens has tons of upside, and I think Aaron Jones is solid. I think I got to take this deal. I think this is too much for Mixon.
Yeah, for Mixon, this is too much. Exactly. I'm still in on Pickens. Talked about him and some of the videos you're going to see this week. Pickens definitely going to be startable here. You have guys you don't know if you can trust, like Deontay Johnson, just yet. AJ Brown, you're missing him. Yeah, you need help at receiver too. And Aaron Jones honestly might not be that far off. I know he had a bad week 2. Mixon had a monster week 1. All told, Aaron Jones is still startable. So you might want to, though, then make some other moves to try to upgrade at running back, not with Jones himself, because right now is a bad time. But then I would say go ahead and flip Diggs with somebody else, maybe like a Moss or somebody if you can, or a Moore, and try to upgrade at running back. Try to buy low on Kenny Walker or something like that. But yeah, you got to take this deal. All right, let's go to another AJ. It's AJ Martinez. 12-man PPR. Got Hurts, Richardson, Stevenson, Mason, Dobbins, Williams, Lamb, Smith, Evans, Pierce, Higgins, and Njoku, Henry. Any tips?
How do you have Hurts and Richardson in a 12-teamer? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, still you're good here. I mean, Lamb, Smith, and Evans, Stevenson, and Mason, and Dobbins. League-winning J.K. Dobbins with league-winning Jordan Mason. That's impressive. Yeah. You got Henry to stream this week. Man, this team how did you get this team in a 12-teamer?
Well, he's clearly been doing some good work on the waiver wire, assuming you didn't draft. I mean, maybe you did draft J.K. Dobbins and Jordan Mason. I know you didn't draft Alec Pierce, if that's Pierce on there. So I think he's been doing some work on the waiver wire, picked up Hunter Henry. So well done. But look, it doesn't need both those quarterbacks if it's a one quarterback league. Try to flip one to somebody who's in need of a quarterback, or, Mr. Jordan Love or whatever. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, this team looks great.
All right, let's get back to Antoine. Sorry to make you wait, but we wanted to get some other people in on here. All right, so Antoine's got a couple more questions. What do we know about Kenny Walker? It's too soon to say.
Yeah, too soon because they really don't start practicing until tomorrow. I mean, you should always be ready for him being out.
Yeah, I don't know. From just the way I've heard, what I've heard, my gut's kind of telling me he's probably out one more week. So I would plan on it. Yeah. And if he is in and he's good by Friday, then you put him in, of course. But I would make contingency plans. Let's put it that way. All right, another running back here now. Is Zamir White droppable?
Not yet. Okay. You always got to take these things with a grain of salt. But Antonio Pierce today is saying we got to get this guy 20 touches. Alexander Mattison barely played last game. I know he got the touchdown, which is very annoying, but he only had 4 carries. It's the Panthers this week. I'm not saying you have to start him. I know even though it's the Panthers, I'm not saying you have to start him, but let's see how it goes this week. If he's still barely being used, then maybe, it's just weird to me. Why is Zamir White not why are you throwing so much with Gardner Minshew?
That's the weird part. I mean, I understand they were down in the second half and had to throw it, but not in the first half. It was the Ravens weren't putting up a ton of points or anything like that. I mean, they should have. You could have. Antonio Pierce, hey, guess what? You could have given him the ball more. You chose not to. So I'm holding him for 1 week, especially because it's the Panthers. He is startable if you need somebody. I mean, droppable, it really depends for who. Don't drop him just to drop him, though. I want to hold out 1 more week.
And yeah, they were down in the second half, but not by a lot. They weren't like getting crushed.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, yeah, exactly. All right, then we said it's
not believe Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, that coach speak index is going to start going toward the red pretty soon. Okay, so his team has Wilson, Nabers, Waddle, and Higgins. No. Okay, so on the waiver wire, he's saying he could choose from these guys: Quentin Johnson, Josh Downs, Jennings, Pierce, Wando.
Downs is definitely interesting, but we still don't know how healthy he is or if he's going to play. So maybe just keep an eye on him. I'm still having trouble with QJ. Maybe just go with QJ, but you can't feel good starting them this week. So if you need somebody this week, then I would go Jennings,
right?
Because he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver against the Rams. He should have a decent game. But if you're thinking more long term, probably got to go QJ.
Take a shot on Johnston. Jennings again. You have Garrett Wilson. You can still start him this week. Waddle, it's up to you. I'm assuming Higgins doesn't play. Nabers, don't expect a big Nabers week. I mean, he's still startable. I mean, I wouldn't put Quentin Johnson or Juwan Jennings over Malik Nabers in my lineup. So, no. Yeah, either one. Maybe take a shot on Johnston. Michael Cazares, welcome back. 10 man PPR. Got offered Jacobs for Devontae Smith.
Well, this is probably going to come down to the team needs. So let's see here. You got Mostert, Stevenson, JT, Brian Robinson. Not bad at running back. Tyreek, Adams, Jameson Williams, Kupp, Garrett Wilson, London. I mean, this was a stacked wide receiver room, and then Tua got hurt and Kupp got hurt. But you still have a lot of very good wide receivers. I mean, you still got Garrett Wilson. Let's hope he comes around. Drake London. Okay. It took literally almost until the end of the game, but we saw something, I guess. I mean, I feel like you probably need running back more than wide receiver, so I guess go Jacobs. I feel like it's very fair. Like, I feel like these guys are close as far as value goes.
Yeah, this is fair. I mean, I like Devontae Smith a lot, but I will say, most are already banged up. We don't know how valuable he'll be. It's just always better to get that RB depth, right? Yeah. So I think that's fine. You could take that because you're probably better off at wide receiver in general. All right, Grizzly Nick, OG. Would you trade Shaheed for Tank Dell?
I mean, maybe I'm gonna be wrong here, but I would prefer to have Tank Dell. I know it was ugly in week 2 for Tank Dell, but again, look, Shaheed, week 1 had a 70-yard touchdown. Week 2 had a 60-yard touchdown. Tank Dell, week 1 just missed on what should have been a touchdown, and week 2, I don't even know what you call that, where he lost it in the lights even though it's nighttime. That should have been a 60, 70-yard touchdown for him too. So these guys could seriously have very similar numbers right now. But give me the guy, Tank Dell, in the offense attached to CJ Stroud, and hope it gets better. I mean, look, the numbers are still there for Dell. It should be better for Dell. It just hasn't happened yet. Maybe it won't. There are some guys, there's some guys, it seems like every year there's 1 or 2 guys where you're everything says this guy should be better, and he just isn't. He just isn't that year maybe that's Tank Dell this year. Maybe Shaheed's the outlier where it's everything says he should be worse and he's better, and Tank Dell says everything says he should be better and he's worse. But I mean, we don't know yet, so just give me Dell.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Tank Dell is up there among the, I guess, leaders, if you will. The differential between expected fantasy points and actual fantasy points. In other words, he's underachieving, which should mean, statistically speaking, that positive regression is coming. Shahid is on the other side. He has definitely outperformed his expected fantasy points. That's what happens when you catch a 70-yard touchdown and then do it again the next week. So I would take Tank Dell. Yeah, I would take Tank Dell anyways, besides that. All right, Alexis Aguilar. What is up? Survived Kamara with Smith and Barkley getting me 40. Nice. The Kamara owner's pissed. Okay, that's his problem.
Barkley got 40 last night?
He said Smith and Barkley.
Oh, Smith and Barkley. I was like, what?
Which that must have been. It must have been close though. Yeah, crazy season. It's basically, and we're only 2 weeks in. Imagine that. Let's get to the Merson family. Would you trade Jordan Mason for DK Metcalf if you already got 2 stud running backs?
You can never have too many stud running backs.
Right. So is this enough is the question here.
Especially when your 2 stud running backs are 185 pounds and like 195 pounds. This is why I don't even mention Jordan Mason on the buy low videos. I don't mention him like when I'm talking about like potential guys to trade away. I don't mention him like as a buy low. Well, obviously he's not buy low, but you know what I mean? Because it's like he has such extreme outcomes. Like, you know, there's some players like DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf's outcomes this year. Like if you said, okay, if you had like a pie chart of his outcomes, like there's a, I don't know, 5% chance he's the top scoring wide receiver. There's a 20% chance he's a top 10 wide receiver. There's a 50% chance he's a top 24. There's a, you know what I mean? Like that's how his pie chart would look. Jordan Mason, it's like there's a 50% chance he's a top 5 to 10 running back this year, or there's a 50% chance he's useless for the second half of the season. Like it's just 2 extremes. It's just, that's it. There's no in between. It's just 2 extremes. So you have to just say like, are you willing to bet on the extreme you need that he's the top, that CMC never comes back and he's just a monster all season? Or do you just take the guy with more range of outcomes, but at least most of them are good, right? Like, I mean, there's probably like a 75% chance that DK Metcalf is at worst a top 24 wide receiver this year, barring injury. So you just take the safe, like, or do you gamble on Mason? That's what makes this so hard.
Well, we know you got Gibbs and Achane. We don't know what your receiving core looks like. It partly plays into it. I mean, honestly, I'd say I'd like to get a little bit better of a receiver for Mason. I don't know that you will. I mean, you're not getting Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, a first-round pick. I mean, I don't know. Chris Olave. Would you rather have Chris Olave, and is that enough? I don't know.
I don't see that. It's so hard for, because again, like think back to last year, week 2. Kyron Williams. Remember, Cam Akers was still on the team. It wasn't like Cam Akers was gone yet. There were still doubts like, is he really going to hold on to this job? You know, like, do you just sell high now? Or even think back to Puka last year. Do you just sell high now and take what you get?
All sorts of people after week 3 were like, oh, man, I'm selling now. Get off of this. It's not going to last. All sorts of people were doubting Puka.
Yeah. So it's like, do you gamble? Do you say like, hey, I'm just gonna take what I can get for Mason now and hope CMC comes back? Or again, do you just gamble on like, hey, because I think we can safely say, barring injury, if right now Kyle Shanahan came out and said, hey guys, that's it, CMC's done. He's not returning this year. It's over. Jordan Mason is at worst a top 10 running back rest of the season, if not top 5.
Yeah.
So do you really want to give that up just for a very good wide receiver like DK? Man, this is so hard. I think if it's me, I'm just keeping Mason. Because again, like I said earlier, I'd rather have that guy. Like, I don't know. Are we going to look back at the end of the season and say like DK was one of those guys that if you didn't have DK, you didn't win your championship this year? Maybe, but maybe not. Mason, assuming CMC never comes back, I think will be one of those guys. We'll look back and say Mason was one of those guys that if you got him off waiver wire, your chances of winning the championship went way up. So I think I'm just holding Mason here and taking the risk.
It would only be if, maybe you're really bad off at receiver. Maybe you had Puka and I don't know. Even if it was like a Debo or something like they only out a couple of weeks, you know what I mean? Not a season-ending thing. AJ Brown, yeah, we could. Yeah, the Jordan Mason thing is going to be really fun to watch throughout the season. We got to move on from this, but probably just hold. I don't feel like it's quite enough.
Right.
Livewire dropped a super chat. Thank you. I don't see a question attached, so if we do, we'll get it. But let's go on to another one from Alexis. He says that the 0-2 owner, of course, 0-2, it's really hard to recover from that in fantasy. So he's panicking. He has JT and he wants Wilson for him. Not a fan of having two Jets weapons with Brees and Wilson. So you're going to get JT for Garrett Wilson? Yeah, I do that.
Well, here's the thing. I think, in a vacuum, I probably want JT, but you already have Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, and Brees. Like, where is JT fitting in here?
Dude, you can never have too many good running backs.
That's to a degree, but if you got like Kenneth Walker and Brian Robinson just sitting on your bench, scoring points that aren't helping your team every week, and that assumes you're starting Brees, Barkley, and JT every week. What if you're only starting Brees and Barkley and JT's just sitting on your bench? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, are you starting 3 running backs every week? Maybe with these guys you are, but I get it, but maybe see if he'll throw in. I don't know, but probably not. So, I think in a vacuum I prefer JT, but I don't know if JT makes sense for your team. Obviously, we don't know your wide receivers, so maybe you're stacked at wide receiver too. So.
Yeah, and you're right. This might necessitate another trade. And they're like, okay, well then let me trade someone else for, okay, well then who do you trade? Well, why would you trade Barkley? That would be pointless. You're not going to trade Brees. Why would you trade JT if you just traded for him? So okay, I'll sell kind of high on Brian Robinson. You're going to get a receiver back for Brian Robinson that's as good as Garrett Wilson? Probably not. So yeah, I know. I would prefer JT to Wilson, but I don't know if this helps your team. So that really depends. Other John is here. In non-PPR, who do you prefer, Najee, Devontae, or Singletary?
I think it's got to be Najee this week. You can't feel good about Javonte Williams. Singletary, yeah, he was good last week, but again, that was the Commanders. This is the Browns on the road. So I think I got to take Najee against the Chargers. I know the Chargers have been a good defense so far, but they played the Raiders and the Panthers. Not like the Steelers or some juggernaut offense. I'm sure they'll be good again this week, but Najee I think is the one I want here.
Yes. Keep in mind the Giants looked like a real offense last week because they played the Commanders, and now they play one of the toughest defenses on the road. So no Singletary, definitely not Javonte. So by default, it's Najee. And then Joe, roster and flex, Brian Robinson Jr. or JSN. This is an 8-teamer.
Ooh, and it's PPR. But I think I still got to give the edge to Brian Robinson. I do like JSN. Brian Robinson's looked so good this year. Bengals, not a good run defense. Also, BJ Hill, probably their best run stopper. Last week's game with a hamstring injury. Maybe he'll play, but probably not. So I think I'm going to go Brian Robinson here, but man, tough to bench JSN in PPR.
Yeah, this week I'll stick with Brian Robinson Jr. He's been running well. That offense has been efficient, weirdly, despite not scoring touchdowns. Their EPA per play is really high. They're running the ball. They're committing to running the ball. So, yeah, I know it's PPR, but I still like B-Rob this week. Good matchup. Juice wants to know if it's time to ditch the Colby Parkinson experiment for Gesicki or Henry. Yes. Either
Probably.
one. Gesicki is first choice, though.
Yeah.
All right, here's Livewire. 2 questions. Because, of course, somebody dropped Puka, even though you apparently have IR spots.
Yeah. You get Puka. Yes.
Walk me through. So you have an IR spot. We're like, no, this guy's not good enough. Like, let's just get him off my roster. Okay. So yes, and then also, do I trade Ramondre and Ordell for Rasheed Rice or Chase?
Yes. Look, I know I just talked about Chase. Like, I think he's a bit overrated, but I'm still taking him over Ramondre Stevenson or Tank Dell any day of the week. I'm taking Rasheed Rice over those guys any day of the week. So yes.
Other running backs are Mason, Dobbins, Rashad White. Good enough. Good enough if Dobbins is going to continue to be the league weight. So basically, just so I'm clear, and then after 2 weeks, if you have Jordan Mason and J.K. Dobbins, you win fantasy football.
That's it. You're done. You won. You have won.
That's awesome. All right. Let's go to another.
That's
Jordan.
why the guy dropped Puka. He's like, it's like Livewire's got Jordan Mason and J.K. Dobbins. What's even the point?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, congrats, man. Let's just get you that trophy now.
Yeah.
Jordan Olsen, worried about JSN taking over DK?
No, what we're gonna DK is always going to be the wide receiver one there. JSN, hopefully, again, I'm not quite ready to say this is it. But we said all offseason we expected JSN to take over that number 2 role over Tyler Lockett, and then week 1 came along and slapped us in the face and said, "Ha, look at Tyler Lockett, still there." But then thankfully week 2 came back and said, "Okay, just kidding. JSN's the number 2." So hopefully that continues, but he will not be the number 1. I know he had more targets than DK Metcalf, but it's going to be like AJ Brown, Devonta. Well, I'm not going to say JSN's as good as Devonta Smith right now, but like think about like that kind of thing where like AJ Brown is the number 1, but sometimes Devonta Smith outscores him. It'll probably be the same thing.
Right. Like week 14 through 17 in the playoffs. When is a good time to trade Mason for good value before CMC comes back? Oh man, that's the $1 million question that we already spent a lot of time on. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly,
the problem is as soon as there's even a hint that CMC is close to returning or is like, hey, the CMC might play in like week 10, no one's trading for Mason anymore. That's it. You get nothing for Mason at that point. So
crystal ball still cloudy. So it's hard to say, honestly. It's going to be the big question here. And Jordan also wants to know, would you trade DK or Flowers for a solid RB? Should be a really good RB, not just a solid RB.
Yes, exactly. Not just solid. It's got to be really good. So we'd have to be talking like Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs,
right?
Etienne.
Not like Monty.
No.
Yeah, I mean he's solid, but I would rather have those guys. Eric Sanchez. Hey, Roysters. And Njoku's injured.
Yeah,
Parkinson. No.
Get Gesicki first, Henry second.
Yeah, Gesicki is going to be in high demand for maybe the first time ever. The Joel Bear. Are you dropping Terry to get JSN?
No. You have to have somebody else you can drop. I mean, maybe not, but I would think so.
I mean, if it could be like somebody was just asking, it's 18 league, maybe. I mean, I would say, yeah.
Even in an 18 league, you don't have like, I don't know, Javonte Williams on your team, Najee Harris. Like, even in 18 leagues, those guys were still drafted. I mean,
right. Yeah. I mean, Terry isn't my first choice to drop, but if you ask me who I'd rather have right now, I think I got to say JSN. So I would do that, but yeah, maybe there's somebody else you could drop. NTY 10 team. Here are the running backs: James Cook, James Conner, Mason, Pollard, sit 1. And then Nico Shaheed, Jennings, Cook, start 2. Okay.
All right. Man, I think I like Pollard a lot this week, but I think I have to sit Pollard. I mean, even though Connor's got a worse matchup than him, it's just how do you sit Connor? I can't sit Mason. I can't sit James Cook. It's tough that you have to sit one of these guys, but okay, I'll sit Pollard. And then start 2, you got to start Nico. And then I guess I just put Shaheed in. Hope it keeps going.
You can, Juwan Jennings, you can pick him up, but you don't need to start him over these guys. Obviously you're starting Nico. That's not even a thought. Is that Cook, Brandon Cooks?
I assume so, because we're looking at wide receivers.
Yeah, so Shaheed, Nico and Shaheed for sure. You know what? It's tough, but I'm in on Pollard this week. I'm now firmly all in. Of course, Mason and Cook. I would sit Connor just based on this week's matchup. We'll see what Pollard does. I don't think Connor will have a week like last week. Last week I called Connor a boom, and he did. This week I'm calling Pollard a boom, so I'm going to go with that. But it's really close here. Daniel Lundquist got questions. Why do you have both of these tight ends, or how? So you're going to McBride or Laporta?
It's got to be McBride. I mean, we very close to panicking on Sam Laporta here.
Yeah. Legitimately, not just, he hasn't done anything yet.
No.
There are reasons why maybe he might not have the season he did last year.
Yep.
All right, Tron Force, what about Terry versus D-Rob this week?
I still have to go Terry here. I know Demarcus Robinson is going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Rams, whatever that's worth, but man, I just think this offense is just going to struggle. I mean, look, the Commanders' offense certainly isn't going to light up the scoreboard or anything, but they did get Terry more involved, 8 targets. Now, sadly, it was only 22 yards last week, but they're trying to make an effort to get him involved. Jaden Daniels is slowly but surely getting better. I'm just still going Terry here. I can't put Demarcus Robinson in over Terry.
No, because best case scenario, Robinson leads the team in targets. Well, Terry McLaurin is already leading the team, at least as far as receivers and targets. Yeah, the Rams just might be bad. Honestly, they might just get rolled again. It's possible. So, yeah, still go Terry. Ben Arthur, good job. Streaming defense, that's the way to go. Wants to know about the Vikings, Seattle, or Tampa.
Vikings get...
Yeah, I'm going to have to look this up. Vikings get
Texans. I mean, look, I know they just did a great job against the 49ers, but I don't know if I want. But the Bucks, Bucks get the Broncos. I got to go Bucks.
It's got to be the Bucks. Got to be the Bucks here.
Broncos at home. Give me the Bucks.
I mean, you're saying you're streaming, so keep doing it. You don't have to hold the defense. Well, they've been really good. Yeah, but go with the matchups because Minnesota might not be the best defense in week 3. Tampa, you got to go Tampa. And then would you drop Gus to get Braylon Allen?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, you want to say yes, but Gus did get 18 carries. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Oh, man. Just to handcuff Brees? I guess. If you have Brees, fine. Go ahead and get Braylon Allen.
Gus is still getting carries. I mean, it's not like he isn't involved, but if J.K. Dobbins will do what J.K. Dobbins is going to do, Gus Edwards is still like a marginal kind of RB3. He is startable. One of these days, he will score a touchdown. But again, the ceiling is not going to be high because he will not catch any passes at all. And now J.K. Dobbins is there stealing carries from him. So it's okay to drop Gus Edwards right now. You might as well get Braylon Allen. All right, so Daniel just saw this. He did drop a super chat. Besides the McBride-Laporta dilemma, go Baker Mayfield or Richardson?
I'm still going Richardson. I know he was not good last week, but this guy, every week he has top 5 upside. I'm going Richardson.
Yeah. I mean, we still have Richardson as a must start. Always has rushing upside. Yeah, go Richardson. All right, we got Chandler Mitas. James Cook for Jamar Chase.
Man, I should have put Jamar Chase on the buy low, apparently. Apparently nobody wants Jamar. I thought I was low on Jamar Chase. Apparently I'm not. Yeah, I'm still taking Jamar Chase here. I know James Cook was great last week, and I still think James Cook will be good, but we probably just saw James Cook's best game this year, almost certainly, or pretty close to it. We have yet to see Jamar Chase's best games this year, so give me Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I still got to take Chase here. I mean, he's still, even if he isn't the wide receiver one, he is a wide receiver one. I like Cook. You know, we like Cook all offseason, draft season. Cook is still very much in play to be a top 10 fantasy running back, especially now he's actually scoring touchdowns. I got to go Chase, though. And at least Burrow has shown me something, last week. Does look better. Okay, let's get to the next one. Dustin Forsberg, who to start here in full PPR with DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, JMO, and then Jerome Forders and Zamir White.
I did put Cooper on the booms, but I understand that it's also very, very risky. So I'd probably just go Jamison Williams. If Cooper booms, you're going to wish you had played Cooper, but Cooper does what he does the first 2 weeks. Jamison Williams, 11 targets last week. He's the clear number 2 behind St. Brown, and they get the Cardinals this week. So give me Jamison Williams.
I think we got to see more from Caleb Williams before we can really trust DJ Moore. And Keenan Allen might play it next week, right? It seems like it's more than likely. Yeah, the Lions. I'm trying to remember. The Lions get the Cardinals, right?
Cardinals.
Yeah, that doesn't scare me. Let's go with the guy who's been producing.
Yeah.
Let's go Jamison Williams.
And then I got to go. Even though it's the Panthers, I still got to go Ford over White. Look, Ford gets the Giants. That doesn't scare me. So I still got to go Ford.
Yeah. Let's go with the guy who's actually done something so far this year. Can't trust Antonio Pierce. Clearly. I really hope Zamir White does something this week. D-Tons dropped a super chat. Here's a question. Full PPR need a flex while Reed's without love. Got Polk, Cooks, D Johnston on the bench or on the waiver.
Is that Deontay Johnson, I assume?
Yeah, maybe Deontay. I don't know if it was supposed to be Quentin Johnston or it was supposed to be Deontay Johnson. Maybe Deontay. On the waiver wire is Gabe, Judy, Sutton. Would you drop any of those guys for any of these guys?
I mean, you could drop Polk.
Yeah.
Who am I picking up here? I mean, are we buying into the Gabe Davis revenge game?
Not at all.
Judy's been getting points. He's at least been doing something.
He has, I have to admit, reluctantly. Judy has done something. Actually, this week is a pretty good matchup for Judy. So maybe until we see more or something from Bo Nix, maybe go Judy. I'd like to say Sutton because of the target share, but target share doesn't matter if the targets are not catchable. So
exactly.
Yes,
yeah, I'd probably just drop Polk for Judy and just play Judy this week.
Yeah. All right, there it is. Brandon Warren. Would it be crazy to start Chuba Hubbard over Michael Pittman?
Yes. I mean, we can't just act like all of a sudden Andy Dalton is going to transform the Panthers into one of the best offenses in the NFL. I mean, sure, it'll be better. It'll almost certainly be better, but I mean, Pittman has to get better at some point. I can't start Chuba Hubbard over Pittman. It's too much.
Right. Too much. Exactly. Now, even if you don't feel great about Pittman, let's see if Andy Dalton, this year's version of, how old is he? 40-year-old Andy Dalton is as good as the 39-year-old version. I mean, come on, he'll be fine. I mean, he can't be worse than Bryce Young. But again, we're not talking about Deontay Johnson or, the receiving core. This is the running back.
I have a shocking stat for you.
All right. I love shocking.
You will be shocked. I promise you will be shocked when you hear this. Andy Dalton is only 36 years old.
30s. Is that right?
I feel like he came into the league in the 80s.
Well, I know he's not that old, but yeah, I feel like it's been a while. I mean, Joe Flacco's older. I know Joe Flacco's older. But
yeah, Joe Flacco's over 40 though. Like Joe Flacco is okay. He's 30. He'll be He's 39. Okay, he's 39. I thought for sure Andy Dalton was 40 years old. I'm shocked. I'm shocked he's only 36. He's still in his prime.
Yeah. Hey, I would love if Joe Flacco or Andy Dalton were wearing a Dolphins jersey right about now. Just telling you. Just saying. Just saying. All right, what about Country Connected? 12-team PPR got Baker, who is not 40 years old yet. Olave, Wilson, Devontae Chase, McBride, B-Rob, Monty, Najee Ford. DJ got dropped. Deontay Johnson or DJ Moore?
Either one, pick him up. Either one, pick him up. I don't. Deontay Johnson or DJ Moore, pick him up. Trade for a running back yet? You got B-Rob, Monty, Najee Ford? Nah, I think you're good. I'll bet you this team is doing pretty well. I mean, okay, Olave hasn't been great, and Garrett Wilson, I guess, hasn't been great. I guess, well, maybe it's not doing that well because Chase hasn't been that good either.
Chase.
Oh,
and
man.
McBride. I think you're okay. You have good receivers, so don't trade for a running back just yet. Someone will come along. You can scoop up off waivers that will help you. So you're good. All right. Keith is in the house now talking about Chase. He says he just flipped him in a dynasty league, probably one of ours, for Nico and Cortland Sutton. Thinking Nico is going to be a first round dynasty value next year. What do you think about that?
I mean, he could if he does. If he continues the season he's having so far, the rest of the year, he will be. I mean, pretty sure him and Chase are like this. Nico might be a little. They might be the same age actually. Nico's 20. Chase might be a year younger. Yeah, Chase is a year younger. But again, doesn't it feel like Nico's been in the league a lot longer than Chase, or is that just me?
I think Nico, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like Nico was older when he entered the league.
Probably, but there's only a 1 year age difference, 25, 24.
So basically, I mean, because Cortland Sutton, fine, but this isn't really tipping the scales here. So basically, he's saying he's in on Nico over Chase and Dynasty. I mean, that by the year's end, that might not be too controversial to take anymore. So, look, if there's one guy I know who knows what he's doing, it's Keith. So, what about the Apex Predator from RE4? Traded DJ Moore for Chris Olave.
Yeah, give me Chris Olave. Like, we can't. I'm sure this Bears offense will get better at some point, but how good can you feel right now? The only thing you can say for Chris Olave right now is it just hasn't happened for him. That's it. You can't be like, oh man, he's stuck with Derek Carr. Oh, he's in that terrible Saints offense. No, you can't say that anymore. It just hasn't happened for him yet. It's gonna happen.
And Olave is one of those guys. Again, those expected points are much higher. Could have had that touchdown. He was inches away. Yeah, this is a good time to buy Olave. So good. I mean, if you got Olave, this is a good deal. All right. Would this be a good deal for Joe Castles? Now, let you give your take. He had asked me this a little earlier in our chess chat. So what do you think? Would you take Flowers?
For Waddle and Jacoby Myers, I assume that's Jacoby Myers. Yeah, just give me Flowers. Again, you don't have to deal with the whole Tua, like when's he going to be back? How long am I have to have Skylar Thompson for? And Jacoby Myers just kind of like a throw-in. Give me Flowers.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather take Flowers. Dustin also wants to know Purdy or Mayfield this week.
I think I still got to go Mayfield, even though, man, Purdy against the Rams seems pretty nice, but he's missing Debo. He's missing CMC. I'll give Mayfield the slight edge.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too great about Purdy this week. I mean, I feel good enough about Ayuk, but give me the guy who has now 2 elite wide receivers. Let's go with Mayfield. All right, and then Apex Predator has another question. I don't know if there's any more information with this, but he's saying, what RB do you think I could upgrade for Kyron?
So, like trading Kyron for a better running back?
I guess that's kind of a tough situation, though. I mean,
Yeah, it's always hard to trade a player for a better player at the same position, unless somebody in your league loves the Rams and they hate the Jets, and they're like, God, man, why do I have Brees Hall? Hate the Jets. Well, I'll give you Kyron. Okay, you know what I mean? Which, like, some leagues that exists. That exists in some leagues.
oh yeah.
Now, if you wanted to get a wide receiver, then you could definitely upgrade. Like, you could maybe trade Kyron for Chase, because apparently nobody wants Jamar Chase anymore. But it's gonna be hard to trade Kyron for a better running back.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's a clear buy low at the position that would be an upgrade necessarily. I mean, I don't know. Is somebody nervous that HN is going to dip with Tua injured? Maybe. That would be about it. Rusty Shackelford wants to know about this trade. Is that supposed to be K9? K1?
Yeah. Again, we've gotten, and this isn't a knock on you, Rusty. You didn't create this nickname. We've just gotten very lazy with nicknames in this country. Very lazy.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, maybe K9 and Waddle for B-Rob and Olave.
I mean, B-Rob. That's his nickname. First initial, first three letters of last name. That's it. That's all we got. It's all we can come up with these days. Give me the Brian Robinson Olave side, because again, I do prefer Walker to Brian Robinson, but I think Brian Robinson will be good enough for you. And I definitely prefer Olave to Waddle. So give me the Robinson Olave side.
Yeah, it's a good time to get Olave. It's a good time to sell Waddle. So I think that side, that you can do that deal. That's what you're getting. Get Carr from waivers. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, I talked about him on the waiver wire video. He's my top quarterback if you need one for this week. Don't think he's winning MVP, but he's serviceable.
No.
I mean, if the voting were today, then yes. But,
yeah.
Lilish. Yeah, they would somehow still give it to Pat Mahomes. Lilish, PPR, keep Goff or pick up Geno Card Darnold.
Well,
that's a tough one.
I mean, if you drop Goff, is somebody really running out to pick up Goff? Like, you can always pick him up next week again, probably. I'm going with Carr. Just go with Carr. Like, if Geno and Darnold are still out there, I'm sure Goff will still be out there next week. Go get Carr.
Yeah, Goff was very disappointing last week. Obviously, risky this week because you figure it could be a high-scoring game versus Arizona, but it's on the road. Arizona has, I mean, they were great on defense last week. I know, obviously, the Rams have their issues, but still, I think you just play it safer with Carr. Although I will say I like Geno Smith this week as well, too. I think he's a solid pickup. So if you miss out on Carr, you could always go Geno, and that's fine, too. So, yeah, you can do a move here. All right, and then let's get to Tyler C. In a 10-teamer, half PPR, Lamar, Sun God, Evans, Flowers, Ridley, Shaheed, Connor, Cook, Spears, Davenport, Pacheco, sadly. Shouldn't make any changes, trades. Now that Pacheco is gone.
Well, you need a new tight end, although maybe Ferguson will play this week, but I would definitely be trying to add. You can drop Dowdle. Add either Gesicki or Henry. I mean, you still have Connor and Cook. Of course, if one of them goes down, you're really going to be hurting at running back. You got Sun God, Evans, Flowers, Ridley, Shaheed. I mean, you could try to trade Ridley coming off a big game. And maybe get like... I mean, I don't even know who you would get, though. Maybe Tony Pollard. I mean, I feel like people aren't very high on him. Maybe Brian Robinson. I feel like people aren't that high on him right now. Somebody like that. Just to give yourself a little more depth. But then your wide receiver room takes a pretty big hit.
This is it's half PPR, but still, I'd rather be solid at receiver. I was going to say Connor Cook is pretty good, although this is a 10-teamer, so that's not ideal. I mean, it's still solid, but then, man, the depth. You can't trust Spears or Dowdle. That's the
No.
problem. So you suddenly do feel thin at running back. But yeah, I think that makes sense what you were saying. I mean, you've got guys who you could probably try to sell high in Shaheed, like Shaheed, but you don't need to start him in this format. Got good value there. So yeah, you don't have to shoot for the moon. What about let's do a couple of, well, not new. Jake's been with us. Jake Alderetti. It's only his second year for fantasy football, so he wants to know if this is a good deal. Jalen Hurts to get Burrow and Godwin.
Great deal. Great deal. Burrow will be good enough, and you're getting a stud wide receiver. No, that's a great deal. Great deal.
Yeah, I think it's very good. You still got a very solid quarterback. Yeah, I like it. And then Freddie 2, new to the channel. Welcome, Freddie. Thanks for joining us. Let's see if we get this one right. Monty or Dobbins in week 3?
I mean, how do you sit Dobbins? I know it's the Steelers. I know it's a tough matchup. But really, how do you sit Dobbins at this point? I think you just have to play Dobbins. Like, maybe this is the week. Maybe this is the week where he doesn't rip off long runs. But I think until then, you have to start him, right? You just got to start Dobbins.
You do. I'm not going to doubt him anymore until he gives me reason to, which maybe it's this week, but still. You just got to go with Dobbins and just see what he gives you. So here we are. J.K. Dobbins, league winner. All right. And by the way, before we keep going, we're catching up to the super chats. Thank you for everyone, especially if you are new to the channel. Glad you're here. You may not know, especially if you're just joining us for the first time, first week, whatever. We do partner with Underdog Fantasy. Now, if you don't know what Underdog is, I mean, you probably have heard of them. They've become one of the biggest sites out there, but Underdog is now running a special. So first of all, if you're new and you haven't signed up, you try Underdog right now, use our promo code and you get this free pick, new customer special. Aaron Rodgers just getting 1 yard. That's it. 1 yard. You take that pick. That's a win for you. And you combine it with any other pick. And both new and existing customers, so those of you who already play Underdog need to know this. You get CD Lamb just getting 1 yard. That's also a free pick for you. But make sure that when you do sign up for the first time on Underdog, you use code ENDGAME because that gets you not only the new customer special, but also the deposit match. That's worth much more depending on how much you deposit. You can get up to $1,000 of bonus cash in your account. That's pretty good. So just make sure you use code ENDGAME when you do sign up, and don't forget to use that free pick before the game on Thursday. And of course, if you haven't heard, we do have an app too. It's called Draft Lane. So the Draft Lane app is completely free to download. Go to the App Store or the Play Store and check it out. And if you sign up right now on Draft Lane, new customers for just a short time more will get a $10 credit put into your account so you can use any of the features that it has. You can ask us start, sit, waiver wire trade questions anytime through the app, and then we'll get back to you. So definitely worth checking out right now. It's called Draft Lane. You can find it in your app or Play Store. Lilish, though, is back with another one. Is it worth keeping Jalen Wright, who a lot of people ran out to pick up and are probably now dropping, or go Braylon Allen?
Go Braylon Allen. I mean, he's a clear number 2 behind Breece Hall. He's getting involved. Jalen Wright, even last week with Mostert out, and then Jeff Wilson, I think, got hurt in like the second quarter. Still, nah. Give me Allen. Give me Braylon Allen.
Yeah, at some point, maybe Jalen Wright becomes valuable again, but might as well go with a guy who is actually getting touches and is actually valuable and is still a high-end handcuff. So Braylon Allen it is. Right, Andy. CMC and Pacheco on IR, feeling the pain. I traded for CMC for Connor and Olave. Wait, what? I traded for CMC for Connor and Olave for Kenneth Walker. Are those good trades?
I'm not. So you traded Connor for CMC, and then you traded Olave for Walker?
I think so. It sounds like maybe buying low to stash CMC. You traded Connor to get CMC, and then maybe buying low on
I
Kenneth
don't mind.
Walker.
I don't mind the CMC Connor deal. Like, okay, Connor, yeah, we know he's going to be good. At some point, he's probably going to get hurt and miss like 4 games because he does that every year. He'll be good. He'll be solid. I'd probably prefer Olave to Kenneth Walker, especially because Kenneth Walker might not play again this week. We don't know. But I see what you're doing here. You're like, okay, let me go get CMC, but now I don't have any running back. So now let me go get Kenneth Walker. So I have a running back. So I get it. So I like the CMC deal. The Olave deal, I'd probably prefer Olave, but it's not terrible. Like I like Kenneth Walker too. So
These all seem reasonable. I'm okay with it. And then pick up Robinson or Shaheed.
Oh, I mean, it's gotta be like it should be Robinson, but it's gotta be Shaheed, right? It's gotta be Shaheed. The Saints offense is rolling, Shaheed is rolling. Puka's not out for the season, Cup's not out for the season. It's gotta be Shaheed.
It's got to be Shaheed, clearly. It's funny because these are both receivers we talked up a lot as late round draft picks, and especially we did a lot of best ball mania for an underdog, which we just talked about. Got a whole lot of Demarcus Robinson and underdog, and a lot of Shaheed. I know you have a ton of Shaheed, especially both have Shaheed shares, both these guys. I prefer them in that format, but you can't always play best ball. But in redraft, they still both have good value, but you got to go Shaheed. Brian Babulik, Diggs for Pickens.
Yeah, give me Pickens. I mean, look, it's only been 2 weeks. You don't want to like go like, oh yeah, this is who this guy is gonna be. But I mean, we're talking about Stephon Diggs through 2 games has a whopping 62 air yards and a 5.2 ADOT. Like there's no that 2 touchdown game you got in week 1. That's probably going to be the biggest game Diggs has all year, barring like maybe a Nico injury. If Nico gets hurt, then maybe you could throw all this out the window. Let's pray it doesn't happen. Give me Pickens.
Yeah, I'm still all in on Pickens. Again, this week's videos, surprise, surprise. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about George Pickens. So, yeah, I would definitely do this. All right. And then we're still catching up, by the way, guys. Appreciate everyone. If you did super chat, we're definitely going to answer those questions. We want to try to do some more. In fact, we might do a little lightning round here pretty soon, get some of the other chats in, but we don't want to keep those who did super chat waiting too long. So let's do a couple more, and then we'll do a quick little lightning round. All right, Brian, Colorado. Superflex was offered Sharps, Rashee Rice, and Jerome Ford, DK, and Montgomery.
Man. I mean, I want to take Rashee Rice really badly, but I don't think the other guy, because Charbonnet is only going to have value until Walker's back, and Ford, who knows? I just don't think. I'm taking the DK Monty side, even though I really want to get Rashee Rice if I can. But
yeah, I'm liking the DK Monty side there. And look, DK, there'll be ups and downs, right? He was very down in week 1 and very up in week 2. I think overall he'll probably at least match Rashee Rice by the end of the season in terms of production. I'd rather have just the solid RB who I know is going to be involved every week. Charbonnet has not really looked good whenever he's had chances. So, and he probably won't even have value after Walker comes back. And Ford, who knows? So, yeah, I prefer the DK Monty side as well. Now we got Marcismo 55 with the super sticker. If there is a question with it, we'll put it up. Let's see if we can find it. Sometimes we have to hunt a little bit for these questions. All right. I don't see anything in the immediate area of the super sticker. So let's go on to one more. Alex Snodgrass Real Estate.
What's up?
Here you go. Your favorite nicknames. AR5, JD5 this week.
There it is. Just what are your initials and jersey number? That's your nickname. That's it. Thoughts on them going forward? They're going to be fine. I mean, I like Anthony Richardson better than JD, but I think JD is going to be fine. I think he's just going to get better and better as the year goes on. I kind of like what the Commanders are doing here. I know it's frustrating for fantasy and the rest of the offense, but look at Caleb Williams. He's getting murdered behind that line, right? Because they're having him drop back, they're running deeper routes. They're having him go through his progressions, and maybe that's better for him long term, probably. But it's not good for him right now. He's getting killed. Whereas Jaden Daniels are like, snap the ball. If it's not there, right, tuck it away, run with it. And I think they're going to slowly start expanding that as the season goes on. So I still have very good hopes for JD this year, but I think you have to prefer Anthony Richardson at this time.
Yeah, still got to go with the guy who's actually getting touchdowns. I mean, sorry. I know the Bears defense is good. They are pretty good, but give it some more time before we throw JD in there. All right, I did see this. Marcismo got the question. 10-team PPR. Purdy, Kyron Cook, Amon-Ra, Devontae Smith, Etienne, Waddle, Shakir, A. Robinson, Cooper, Kincaid. Who would you go after is 0-2?
Well, let's see why you're probably losing, because I don't even really know. Maybe you started Cooper. You probably started Cooper 2 times, and
like in week 1, Sun God did nothing. In week 2, Waddle did nothing. Etienne has just been okay. Purdy's not been good. I mean, really, I don't know if I want Purdy at 10-teamer as my starting quarterback, but I wouldn't trade for a quarterback either.
Nah, I would go. I'm sure Derek Carr is on your waiver wire. Pick up Derek Carr, start him over Purdy this week. You need that upside. I mean, you had Cook, Sun God, and Devonta Smith last week, and sure, Waddle was bad, but Etienne was solid. Kyron was solid. I mean, this feels like a team that should have probably still won in week 2. I mean, you had a lot of big scorers, like with Cook, Sun God, Devonta Smith. I'm guessing you probably started Cooper, and of course Kincaid's been terrible. And Cooper's been terrible, so I mean, you could try to package like, I mean, it's a 10-teamer, you need studs, so you could try to package like Waddle and Cook, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're not going to get, like, no one's going to give you Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson. I mean, maybe JT. You already have Kyron. Or maybe you go get a wide receiver. Maybe you package Waddle and Etienne and try to get, like, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I like that idea. Package those 2 guys, Etienne and Waddle, for a legit stud receiver. Probably your best bet. And again, try to do something at quarterback to upgrade. You can stream. It's okay.
Right. But I look at this team and I think like this team, like this isn't a team where I go like, yeah, I see why you're 0-2. Like you still have a lot of high-end talent here. So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not a bad team. All right. Poor boy Sin. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor for Rashee Rice and Dowdle?
So basically Jonathan Taylor for Rashee Rice is what we're asking here. I think this comes down to like what your team needs. Because we were talking about, was it yesterday we were talking about it? Like top 10 wide receivers rest of the season. I think Rashee Rice has got to be on that bubble. No Hollywood rest of the season. No Hollywood rest of the season. Travis Kelce looks, dare I say it, Xavier Worthy probably going to need time. I didn't say it, but you know what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. Like, sure, in a vacuum, give me the running back. But if you're like, hey, I got 4 or 5 really good running backs and my wide receiver room is terrible, I don't hate this to get Rice.
I don't know. I still value JT more than Rice, so I'm not going to do this. I want something a little bit better at receiver if you need a receiver. All right, and let's do some of these non-super chats. Do
All
a
right.
quick one here. Let's start with George, just because that was so nice. He says, we're his favorite
Thank
channel.
you, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and now let's go to Kyle because, of course, he's a Dolphin fan. This is interesting, though. Would you use the number one waiver priority on Steele when he already has Mixon, Kamara, Mason, and JT?
No, even if they didn't sign Kareem Hunt, I'm not using the number one waiver on Steele. Remember, even if Andy Reid was like, if he came out, and Andy Reid is not like one of those guys who like says one thing and does it different. He just basically like, he's like, yes, I would love a cheeseburger. Thank you. Like even if he came out and said like, we're going to ride Carson Steele until Pacheco comes back, it's still only 6 to 8 weeks. And then Pacheco's back. And then Carson Steele is nothing again. So now not using the number one waiver on Steele. No.
Yeah, and not just that you don't need Carson Steele, but I mean, like, is Carson Steele really going to be like the next Peyton Hillis or whatever? Like, I
Maybe.
don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not following that trap of the Chiefs running backs again. All right, what about Captain Mundo, Shaheed, or Demarcus Robinson?
Got to be Shaheed. He's the clear number 2 in that Saints offense. I know Demarcus Robinson for a while is going to be the number 1, but Cup's coming back, Puka's coming back. Give me Shaheed.
Yes, you gotta still go with Shaheed. I think that's Captain One Hundo. I think that's how you say that. Okay.
Yeah, Captain One Hundo.
Wolfman, always in the house here. 0-2. Would you trade Pickens and Wright, guess Jalen Wright, to get AJB?
Yeah. I know there's some worry because they're saying it's going to be a couple more weeks with the hamstring, but I mean when he comes back healthy, he is a no doubt top 10 wide receiver. Give me AJ Brown.
Right. As much as I love me some George Pickens, I would rather have AJ Brown, and Wright's just a throw-in. So, yep, I would do this. I mean, I know you're 0-2, but you can hang on for a couple weeks. It's not like George Pickens, helped you that much last week. Let's see. Do a couple quick ones. How about the infamous turtleneck sweater? Trey Benson or Kareem Hunt?
Trey Benson. Again, if you told me Kareem Hunt is going to do exactly what he did last year, I still don't want Kareem Hunt. What did he even do last year? Like Benson.
Yeah, just go with Benson. Tristram, what's up? He's got the membership. When, or maybe just does Kimani Vidal show up?
Well, I think the good news for Kimani Vidal, if there is good news, is that despite J.K. Dobbins looking so good, Gus Edwards has looked horrendous. And maybe he starts to take over that role. Like maybe they're like, okay, at some point, let's just give Vidal a chance and see if he can actually give us some explosive plays. Because, Gus Edwards, it's like every run. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they just park the bus and just roll out the rookie. It's going to require some patience. They don't need him. They're winning. J.K. Dobbins is great, so it'll be a while. Chris Cady is 2-0. Awesome. 10-team full PPR. Got Kyler. Been great. Walker, Gibbs, Moss, Javante, AJB, Marvin Harrison, Tank Dell, BTJ, Ladd, Kittle. All right, so who should we pick up here, if anybody? Got Shaheed. The Kansas City running backs, Wandale or Cooks?
Man, I know you probably want to pick up Shaheed. I mean, am I ready to already drop Moss and Javante? They're getting touches. It's not like they're not getting touches. It's not like, hey, they're, some other running back is getting all the touches and they're just standing there. Like, they're still getting touches.
I know, but like saying Javante's getting touches is like saying Cortland Sutton's getting targets. It's like
True.
It's not his fault, but it doesn't really matter. I think you can drop Javante for Steele. I mean, if you drop Moss and Javonte, you only got 2 running backs. That's the problem. And then you got Steele as your 3rd running back, but is he really worse than Zach Moss at this point? So I guess it's a 10-teamer. Really, there's no running backs on waivers. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think you can drop Javonte for one of those, probably for Steele. I think that's what we do. Okay, let's move on to. We already did that one. All right, let's move on to fake jabs.
All right.
Would you trade, or should he trade, or she, Brian Thomas and Sharp for Jameson and Spears?
So this is basically Brian Thomas for Jameson. I mean, I know Charbonnet right now has value, but once Kenneth Walker comes back, he's just a handcuff again, and Spears looks like he's just a handcuff right now. I think I gotta prefer Jameson. He's in that Lions offense. He's clearly the number 2. He looks good. I'm taking the Jameson Spears side.
I think this is a fair deal, but like you said, the running backs or whatever. Yeah, give me Jameson. I mean, he looks like legit breakout so far. Brian Thomas has been good. I'd rather have the guy in the Lions offense than the Jags. And then Michael Amato says he's screwed. He went 0 RB, but he did draft Jordan Mason. Well, that's great.
Then how are you screwed?
Well, because he also drafted Rico Dowdle, Chase Brown, Zamir White. Okay. Pick RB2. Okay, so I guess those are the choices.
If you go 0 RB and you have Jordan Mason, you should be way less than screwed. If you didn't have Jordan Mason, maybe you'd be screwed. But you got Jordan Mason. Like, if you have a stud running back in a 0 RB build, you should be far less than screwed. You should be like, this is great. I don't even care about my RB2. Like, because your wide receiver should be phenomenal. You know what I mean? Your wide receiver should be incredible.
Unless you had Puka and AJ Brown and,
Well, okay, then you're screwed, but it's not because of your running backs. It's because your wide receivers are hurt, right? I mean, yeah, if I draft a 0 RB team and I have Jordan Mason, I'm like, good luck, everybody. You better hope CMC comes back. Like, you better hope that I drafted Puka and AJ Brown. And then it's okay, yeah, you guys got lucky. We just roll Zamir White this week. It's the Panthers. You got Jordan Mason. Like, Zamir White gets you 8 to 10. I mean, no, he hasn't, but he gets like 8 to 10 points. You're fine. You should be fine. Again, assuming you didn't draft AJ Brown and Puka Nacua, which you might have.
Yeah. Out of this bunch, it's Zamir White. I mean, Chase Brown's not even really getting involved, unfortunately. And the Bengals just can't even run. It's not even just him. It's like Zach Moss fell into the end zone, but other than that, not doing anything. Rico Dowdle is now in a 3-man committee. So forget it. So it just goes Zamir. All right, Isaac Garcia in a 12-man, 2-2, and 1 flex. James Conner, Jordan Mason, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Marvin Harrison, Brian Thomas Jr., Jamison Williams, start who, and then Goff or Carr.
I think you got to go Carr at quarterback. 2 running backs are going to be Mason and Gibbs. 2 wide receivers are going to be Lamb and Nico. And then, I mean, you got to flex Marvin Harrison after last week, right? I know.
Yes.
I know he could, crash again, but I mean, I think you got to start Marvin Harrison again. So Mason and Gibbs, Lamb, Nico, Harrison with Carr at QB.
Exactly how I would have it. There you go. It's a good lineup. Chinonso, active, Hurts, Achan, Mason, Kincaid, Godwin, Dell, JSN. On the bench, Pacheco and CMC. Watson, Odunze, Musgrave, AD Mitchell. You could definitely drop Musgrave like a bad habit. For Steele, yes.
Yeah,
no.
Drop Musgrave for Steele. Definitely.
It's early, but I will say probably Luke Musgrave will be my biggest miss of best ball draft season. I didn't draft him in real life in like real redraft leagues. I did in Best Ball Mania. Oh well. At least I didn't draft Travis Kelce in round 3 anywhere. Juice box. Trade
Sam
Kincaid
Laporta.
and Ridley for Bowers. Ooh.
Oh man.
Wow. I mean, I know Bowers is looking already like a stud. Is this too much too soon?
Probably, but I mean, call me crazy that I'm not sold on Calvin Ridley scoring because he scored a rushing touchdown and literally they showed that they flipped. I was watching Red Zone and they go, "We take you to Tennessee. Will Levis just did this," and I'm like, "Oh, here we go, here we go." It's gonna be some like no look over the shoulder pick six or something, right? Like here we go. And he throws his pass, and I see the safety coming over. I'm like, "Oh, he threw an interception because that guy's." It's going right into his hands, and somehow it like magic, like went through the dude's body, and somehow Calvin really caught it and scored a touchdown. I'm like, what? Like, how was that not an interception? He still only had like 6 targets in this game. Like, but at the same time, it's a tight end. It's Bowers. Like, I know Bowers has been great, and like maybe Bowers is going to be this year's Pitts, right? Like 1,000 yards, but no touchdowns because he's on the Raiders. Which would be fine. I don't know. I think it's too much. I think I got to take Kincaid and Ridley still.
Yeah, I think it's too early to give up on Kincaid. Not that you're giving up by taking Bowers, but with Ridley, I still like Ridley. He's clearly, they're going to be the top target in this offense. So I think it's a little too much. Oliver Glenn. Had Caleb Williams and Justin Herbert. Drank too much. Hard Knocks Kool-Aid. That's funny. So who to pick up? Was it Carr?
Carr. And again, I don't know. I don't know if people in your league are desperate for a quarterback right now. I doubt it because we haven't had any major QB injuries, I don't think. Tua, but is a person in your league with Tua like, oh my gosh, Tua was my only QB? Like, probably not. So, again, I'll pick up Carr, but I'm not dropping a ton of fab, like 3 to 5% for Carr.
Yeah, because you even have some decent ops. I mean, is Kirk, is that Captain Kirk, like Kirk Cousins, but Captain with a K? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I just assumed Kirk Cousins because we were talking about quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what I assume it is. You can definitely drop Caleb Williams. You can drop Herbert too. Just drop them both. Go for Carr. If you don't get Carr, you're okay with probably either of those, Kirk or Darnold. Fine. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Lesson number 1. All right, Antoine is back. Wants to know, are you buying low on Cup right now?
Look, if I could trade Shaheed for Cup, give me Cup. Give me Cup. If somebody's buying into this, and look, I don't watch I watch some other channels, some other fantasy football channels, but I don't watch every other fantasy football channel. So I don't know, but I can't imagine anybody talked about Rashid Shaheed more than I did because I talked about him more than probably any human being should have talked about Rashid Shaheed, to be honest. And even I'm not going to take Rashid Shaheed over Cooper Kupp. Give me Cooper Kupp. Even I understand that what Shaheed has done these first 2 games is even far beyond what I expected and is not sustainable. So Waddle's a little closer because, again, it is an ankle injury for Kupp. Remember, 2022, ankle injury, ended his season. Last year, dealt with ankle. If you can get Kupp for Shaheed, I do it. Waddle, I may not.
I would say generally right now I'm not buying low on Kupp because you're buying at the opening of this injury period for him, and we don't know how long. And we've seen this. This is kind of what we all expected from Kupp, that he was just going to get injured again. So I don't know. I'm not surprised. I'd rather buy on Puka, if anything, but that's me. Right now I'm not buying Kupp. Scott Lewis, Steal or Pirine?
Steal.
Dalton and Superflex.
If you have to, only if you have to. I'm fine adding Dalton in Superflex, but I would not want to roll him out this week if I can help it.
Right. Hopefully not starting him. Spearsy is back. What's up, Spearsy? Would you drop Justin Herbert for Derek Carr?
Yeah, Justin Herbert. I wasn't even in on Justin Herbert this year. And what is a pass? He just threw 2 touchdowns and got you basically nothing. Like, they're just not going to throw the ball. Sure, there's going to be maybe like a handful of games this year where they're getting blown out and he has to throw it 35, 40 times. And then people are going to be like, Herbert, go get Herbert. And then the next game, they're going to run it 40 times and be like, oh, why did I do that? Yeah, give me Carr.
Yeah, you can definitely drop Herbert here, especially now he's all banged up. Mech Tensa Gaming. Sounds cool. PPR week 3. Wide receivers, start 2, sit 1. Nico, Jameson, Ridley.
I mean, you got to start Nico. That's a must. He's got Jameson and Ridley. You know, if it's me, I'm going Jameson.
I like Ridley still, but I think you got to keep going with Jameson the way he's looked. I'll just go with the first 2 as well. Go Jameson. Packs for life. Trade Chase Brown for Zamir White. Sure. Yeah. I mean, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that they're going to get him 20 touches a game because he said that all offseason too, but I'll still take Zamir White over Chase Brown right now.
But even if he doesn't get 20 touches, I feel pretty confident he'll get more touches than Chase Brown. And then have Cooper and Kirk on the flex. Don't want to start Kirk. I don't blame you.
Yeah, just go with Cooper. I mean, he can bust just as hard as Kirk, but he's got more upside.
Exactly. He can bust. It's like the battle of the bus. I can bust even harder than you. It's like Tank Dell. I can get you negative yards. I'll catch a pass and go for negative yards.
Thank goodness he got carries.
Yeah.
Saved him.
All right. Yeah, you can roll Cooper.
Although Christian Kirk did actually get 1 catch for negative 1 yard, so he actually did.
He did
get you.
I guess he did bust harder.
Yes, he did.
All right. Joey Ford, would you trade a Dunze for Allen and Dobbs? Braylon Allen. Is that Braylon Allen? Because he says he's a Hall owner. So we're going.
Yes, I assume that means Braylon Allen. I don't know. I mean, look, I will say this. Like, Dobbs, I think, is at least serviceable when Jordan Love comes back. But that's just it. You're basically just getting your handcuff and a serviceable wide receiver for Odunze. I don't know. I think I'm still holding Odunze. Maybe I'll regret this.
No, fine. I don't want to trade for a handcuff running back that was just plucked off waivers. Odunze still has upside. Caleb Williams could still be okay. I would just keep Odunze. Old J running.
All right.
Goddard, Gesicki, and Njoku.
I got to rank them. Gesicki, Goddard. I mean, Njoku has to be last because he's probably not playing again.
I would be shocked if Njoku played this week. So this week, go Gesicki. Take that matchup against the Commanders. All right, Demetrios is back, waiting on the commissioner to approve getting Pollard for DK because he lost Pacheco and is not thrilled, understandably, with his running backs, but Pollard for DK.
I mean, I do like Pollard as a buy low, but I don't think DK's a sell high. I think DK's a strong hold. I mean, I get it. You're like staring at Monty, Monty's been okay so far. He's scored twice. So, but if he doesn't, but I know you're looking at Gus Bus, McLaughlin, Irving. I mean, you need running back help. So I think you probably overpaid a little bit, but your team needs Pollard. So.
Yeah. Again, I don't mind getting Pollard. DK is a little much. I get it. You're desperate, right? Or you need a running back. So not the worst move. Not the worst. Anthony, PPR, waiver. Op has Pacheco. Walker's my RB2. Okay, so he's asking Pierre Steele, Allen, Braylon, or play Chase Brown. I don't think you can play Chase Brown.
You can't play Chase Brown. I probably would do Pierre over Chase Brown, but I would do the other 2 over Chase Brown. Trade Terry or Shakir for Najee or Swift. I mean,
is it worth it?
Nah, just pick up Steele. Although I don't really want to use my number one waiver on Steele. Unless, like, if you guys have the type of waivers where it resets every week, because some league, I know there's different leagues, right? Like, there's the one where it's like when you use it, you drop in the order. I think that's called rolling waivers. And then there's the one where it's like every week they do like the lowest scoring team gets the number one waiver priority or something. I don't know, because I only really play in leagues with Fab. Every single one of my leagues is Fab. I don't play in any of those leagues. So if it resets every week, like, hey, every week it resets, then sure, get Steele. If it's like use it and lose it, don't use it on Steele. Just grab Allen or whoever after waivers clear.
Yeah, I will say, thinking about it, I mean, I'm okay trading Shakir to get a usable running back. If you do Shakir for Najee, it's not exciting, but you're probably not even starting Shakir. If you need a running back, which you need a running back, at least you get something. So, I mean, I'm okay doing this. Shakir for Najee, I guess. All right. Poor boy Sin is back. Is it smart to run Warren and Najee together?
No.
Together or separate?
Like, you could do like Gibbs and Monty together. I'd probably be okay with that. But Warren and Najee, I mean, even if you combine them, what's the upside?
Right. But if you could somehow put them both together in one slot, it's like, it's okay.
It's still, yeah, like what, like a low end RB2?
Exactly. So no, don't do that. Fantasy football is pain. Got a question. All right. So wondering if trading Evans is a good idea to nab a tight end like McBride or Bowers.
You better get more than just McBride or Bowers. Like, you better get McBride plus something.
Yeah, try to get something else.
Yeah, like another running back or another wide receiver. Like, yeah, maybe a Zay Flowers, a George Pickens.
Right. Yeah.
Drake London.
Well, right. 1 for 1, not enough.
No.
Casey Pierce has McBride and Bowers. Why do you have McBride? Okay. With Cup going down, who should I target for trade value for one of them? All right. Maybe that's why. Which one would you trade?
I'm getting PTSD. Remember last year we were getting so many, like, I have Sam Laporta and Travis Kelce. I have Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid. I have Sam Laporta and Trey McBride. I have Travis Kelce and Trey, like all these, like, because everybody, because Laporta, Kincaid, these guys were all waiver wire pickups. I feel like Bowers was probably not drafted in a lot of leagues, or if he was like drafted late. And we're going to start getting all these questions like, I got McBride and Bowers. Who do I start? McBride has probably more value right now, I'm guessing. So if you're gonna,
I don't know. And Bowers is getting a lot of steam lately. Everyone's, he's a unicorn. So
true. McBride is the one I prefer.
Me too.
He's got Kyler Murray, not Gardner Minshew. So if you could trade Bowers, do it.
Yeah, well, in the end, it will be, okay, who is the wide receiver you could get for a tight end? Meaning, who in your league is desperate for a tight end or wants one of these tight ends and has a receiver that you want? Who do they prefer? So, it has to be the right match. Right. I would try to trade Bowers and keep McBride. Black bag. Flexing forward, Brian Thomas Jr. or London?
I still think you got to go London. Like, I know it was close to another disaster last night, but he's just easily a tier, if not 2 tiers above these guys right now. I still got to go London.
Yes. And then Richardson or Mayfield?
Still got to go Richardson.
Yes. Richardson it is. Keith Tapp. What is up, Keith?
What's up, Keith?
Murray, HN, Kyron, Ayuk, Hill, Kittle, Mason, Gus, Deontay, Likely, London, Myers, Shaheed, Swift. It's a 10-teamer, PPR. White to start. Not sure if I should start 3 Niners. Well, if it's those
Well,
three.
I mean, yeah, you got to feel great about Kittle too, right? Like,
Yeah.
London. Let's see, Etienne, Karen, Ayuk. I mean, yeah, you can't. If that's the starting lineup, you can't change anything. There's nothing to change. No.
I mean, I know the Niners haven't been great, but without CMC and Debo, all three of these guys do get a boost. You know, they might not all go off at the same week, but you got to start Mason, pretty much. You're good with Kittle at tight end. Yeah, I think it's fine. And I like Ayuk this week. Jose Garcia needs a running back. Would you trade Chase or Ayuk?
I mean, sure. Depending on who I get back. I mean, if I'm gonna trade Chase, even though I know I talked him down a little bit in the beginning, but he's still valued very highly. I need like Saquon, JT, Gibbs, Achane. I need guys like that. If I'm gonna trade Ayuk, I probably need guys like Jacobs, James Cook, maybe Hiron, maybe Kenneth Walker, like guys like that.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Achane. Yeah, it better be a stud running back. So you can if you need to, but only if you get enough. Keith Evans got offered Mahomes, Kelsey, Zeke, and Tank. Okay. For Lamar, Parkinson, and Chase.
All right, let's see. QB, who's been a bust so far, tight end, who will probably be a bust this season, a running back who's been a bust for 4 years, and a wide receiver who's been a bust so far, for a QB who's been great, a throwing tight end, and a stud wide receiver. Nah, give me the Lamar Chase side.
Yeah, that Mahomes Kelsey stack isn't looking as great these days. Okay to buy low on Tank. You're not buying low and you get up Lamar and Chase. So
right.
Keep the Lamar Chase side if that's who you got. All right. And then all right, fine. We'll celebrate the good news. Juice 420. Taysom Hill has avoided a major injury. We should just celebrate non-injuries going forward any chance we get, right?
That's true. It's true.
All right, and then we got Moises de la Vara. We're going to drop Christian Kirk for Shaheed. Are we there yet?
I'm there.
Really?
I'm there.
Dropping Kirk.
Like, one catch, 30 yards week 1, one catch, -1 yard in week 2. Like, what? Yeah. I don't need Kirk.
I don't know. I mean, I know I was too optimistic about him last week and saying to start him. I don't think I can just drop him, though. Definitely not for Downs. Downs haven't even played yet, but there's got to be somebody else you can drop to get Shaheed. I don't know. I don't want to drop Kirk just yet. Man. Gator chomping. All right. Gator chomping with a super sticker. And here's the question. Monty for Kelsey Swift. Is this like the Kelsey Taylor Swift package? Is that what you're implying? Lineup. Because Taysom is your tight end.
Hey, he's healthy. He avoided serious injury. So you're trading Monty to get Kelsey and Swift? I mean, you need a tight end, but is Kelsey even a tight end? Is Kelsey even an upgrade over Taysom Hill? Serious question.
I think so.
Travis Kelsey has less PPR points than that offensive lineman who caught a touchdown in week 2. Through 2 games. He has less PPR points than that offensive lineman who caught a touchdown. And that's not even a joke. It's truth. It's fact. Less PPR points than that offensive lineman. Swift is like 18 carries. Like, he's like Javonte Williams on the Bears. Sure, he's getting all the touches, but what is it resulting in? Like 20 yards?
He's been worse somehow than Javonte, I think.
I think I'm just keeping Montgomery here and streaming a tight end.
Yeah.
And I'm not even high on Montgomery.
I I mean, I'd rather at least have a tight end who I know is startable. So
The problem with Kelsey is you have to start him every week. The good news with streaming is if I pick up a tight end, he's terrible, I can just drop him and pick up somebody else next week.
I mean, you're convinced at this point. It sounds like that Kelsey is a little dusty.
I was already convinced of that after last year. This has just reaffirmed that.
Well, I think I would do it just to get a tight end and take that shot. And so you're not starting Monty anyways, or are you? No, you don't. You wouldn't start him because you have Pickens and Dell and whatever. So yeah, I would do it. All right, we saw Lavar with another one. Jordan Addison is available. What would you rather have him than Deontay?
No, give me Deontay, and Addison's not even healthy. Give me Deontay. Let's see if Andy Dalton can save him.
Yeah, agree. Brian Babulik, Carr or Gino?
Carr's got to be the number one QB ad off of waivers. I mean, look, at some point, and maybe it's this week, because this is the week where everybody's on Carr, right? This is the week everybody's like, okay, you got to get Carr. Maybe this is the week where he goes out there and throws 3 interceptions and gets you a -4 points. But right now, you got to go with
Carr, but Gino is my number 2 choice if you're streaming quarterback or just need a quarterback, which clearly you do because you have Tua and Caleb Williams. You can drop Caleb Williams and stash Tua, or don't stash Tua. All right. So catching up, by the way, guys, if you did super chat in the past hour, we're going to get to your questions. So have not skipped anybody as far as I know yet. So don't worry. We will get there. Let's see. So Michael Gazaris did put another one. Devontae Smith for Henry or Jacobs?
I mean, I definitely want Smith over Henry. I think Smith for Jacobs is fair based on what your team needs. Like, if you're very deep at wide receiver, you have a lot of really good wide receivers, and you're like, I got to figure out which 3 of my 5 really good wide receivers I'm playing every week, and I'm kind of struggling at running back. Okay, fine, get Jacobs. But not for Henry.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a running back, I think it's okay to do, again, preferably for Jacobs. Joel Bear, I'm not sure who this is directed to. Why do you love Terry so much? You want some hopium.
Hopium? Is that a way to say hope? I mean, I don't think I love Terry that much. I was very high on Terry this year because of JD, and I still have hopes. I still have hopium that JD can support Terry McLaurin. I just believe that, like, I'm not going to give up like Michael Pittman. I mean, I was about to give up on Deontay Johnson, but then Andy Dalton dragged me back in. Terry McLaurin, like talented players who haven't gotten off to great starts. I'm not just throwing in the towel on them already, unless it's something where like, oh, hey, look, they're not playing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not even seeing the field. Like, okay, then you could probably throw the towel in. But like, Terry's out there, he's getting targets. Look, maybe Jaden Daniels never gets to that point this year and Terry's a bust. But if Jaden Daniels does get better and they get more comfortable with him, there's still huge potential for Terry McLaurin this year.
Yeah, the thing is, it's okay to be a little patient with a guy who's been proven to be a good receiver before on a team with a rookie quarterback, brand new coaching staff after 2 games. Things could get better, just saying. So, all right, Jordan Olson wants a rating on this 8-team league team. Full PPR, 1 flex. Jalen Hurts, Hall Mason, MHJ, London Kincaid, flex, and James Conner, Tucker, and then there's the bench. Puka's in the IR.
Yeah, I mean, you lost Puka, that hurts, but I still feel like, I mean, you got Mason, so that's good, but I mean, like for an 8-team league, like, so your running backs before Mason, like if you didn't get Mason, your running backs were going to be like Hall and Connor with like, well, I guess you had, you know, Marvin Harrison, London, and Puka, but Kincaid for 8-team league, I don't know. I just expect 8-team leagues to be impossible to grade because every player is a stud. Maybe that's not how it really works. I'll say 7.75.
Yeah, I mean, Puka should be your number one receiver. We'll see. Harrison probably should be a top receiver still going forward. London, who knows? So I know this for an 18 league, probably not the top of the heap here. So more like a 7.5. Ronskov? Is that what that says? Okay. Allen, Kamara, Saquon, Chase, Flowers, Kittle, Kyron Williams, Ford, Cooper, Dell, Hopkins, Debo. Can you drop Hopkins? Probably.
Probably, I guess.
Should I trade for someone?
I mean, you got Kamara, Saquon, Chase, Flowers, Kyron, Ford, Cooper, Dell. I mean, I don't know who. Kittle, Josh Allen. Who are you going to trade for? I mean, because here's the thing. Like, Cooper hasn't been very good. Dell's been terrible. Hopkins has been terrible. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to, package Kyron and Flowers for a wide receiver upgrade, but then you're hoping, Cooper or Dell comes around? Yeah, I don't really see what you do here as far as trades.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to move Kyron for a stud receiver. Maybe give you a little more security if that's the case, assuming this is full PPR. But no, I mean, you got pretty good lineup. I mean, hello, you have two of the top running backs in fantasy with Kamara and Saquon. You got Chase and Flowers. Kittle gets a bump now. Josh Allen. I mean, you're actually pretty good. I don't think you really need to make a trade here unless you feel thin at receiver without Debo. But I think you're fine. I mean, Cooper and Tank are still startable at the flex. Yeah. All right. What about Philip Baker? This must be a shallow league. Picking up Brock Bowers and dropping Tank Dell.
I mean, even in a shallow league, Tank Dell was a 4th, 5th round pick. You got to have somebody worse. I mean, maybe Tank Dell's been worse than them this season, but you have to have somebody you could drop that's worse than Tank Dell. You don't have a Javonte Williams, a Zamir White, a Najee Harris. You don't have one of those guys? Or somebody like that?
Brock Bowers, I know you said that he wasn't necessarily drafted in every league, but after 2 weeks, he's still just out there on waivers. It's got to be an 18 league. Somebody else.
I mean, even in an 18 league, you got to have somebody worse on your roster than Tank Dell. Tank Dell, again, Tank Dell was a 5th round pick. Even in an 18 league, you pick more than 5 guys.
So pick up Bowers, but don't drop Tank Dell.
I mean, maybe in an 18 league, Tank Dell was a 7th round pick, but still.
Yeah. Okay. I like how this is urgent, happening now. A trade offer. This trade offer will not exist, although happening now was an hour ago. So, for
Are we too late? Are we too late, John?
I don't know.
Give me Cup here. Look, I know it's 2 weeks. You don't want to panic, but here's the issue for Laporta. Jamison Williams is a true number 2 wide receiver. He did not have that competition last year. Laporta is still going to have some games where he scores a touchdown, where he does okay, but I think asking Laporta to be anything close to what he was last year is a stretch at this point. Just give me Cup.
Yeah, I'm not trading for Laporta right now. Thomas Brannigan lost Cup and Pacheco, but you got the Sun God and Devontae Smith. Connor B-Rob and Sharps got Geno and Fields. Do we go in on Derek Carr here or Steele?
Going on Carr. I mean, yeah, if you can get Steele, but don't drop Connor, Brian Robinson, or Charbonnet. I like the way you spelled that. Charbonnet.
Like Chardonnay. If this is a 1 quarterback league, you don't need all these guys. Just drop both those quarterbacks to get Carr and Steele. All right. And let's see. We're still getting there. Let's get to the super chats that are next to make sure we don't leave you guys hanging. Let's go with Scat Daddy. Traded Olave and Dobbins for Garrett Wilson.
I can't. Oh, man. I hate when I have to I don't even know if I prefer Garrett Wilson to Olave right now.
I know. That's the tough thing is, I was never really in on this Jets offense because I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of done. I think Garrett Wilson should still be really, really good. But the question is he really going to be much better than Chris Olave at this point? I'm not sure. So it's not a bad deal, but it's it's okay.
But you also threw in league-winning J.K. Dobbins.
Well, that's the trick here. If Dobbins somehow keeps doing what he's doing, and then you lost the straight. If Dobbins, gets hurt again in week 4, then it's fine. Brandon, I'm it. Would you trade Jamar Chase for Malik Nabers?
I would trade Nabers for Jamar Chase, meaning I would still greatly prefer Jamar Chase.
Yes. This is a good time to sell Malik Nabers, not to buy on him. So if you're trading Chase to get Nabers, no, don't do that. All right, we got Luis Becerra in a 12-team full PPR league. Got Josh Allen, JT, Higgins, Pickens, Kincaid, McLaurin. On the bench is Fields and Purdy. Chase Brown, Corum, Cooks. Yeah, look, if this is a 1-quarterback league, you don't need any backup quarterback for Josh Allen. You can drop both of those guys. All right, so the question is, should I trade Taylor for Swift and Reed?
This is a big L. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Why no? So Swift, not a buy low. He's just low.
Yeah.
No, don't do this. Definitely don't do this. Hold tight. And let's see. Higgins, Pickens, McLaurin. But look, I don't know why you would trade Jonathan Taylor at all for anything. I'm not sure who you would put in his place.
Yeah, don't do this.
Don't do this.
Don't do this.
Don't trade JT at all. No. Quinn, what is up? We are back. Huge bounce back. Okay, now I want to see.
Let's see.
Half point 2 flex. Love Fields, Marv, Nico, Brees, Charbonnet, Terry, Jason, D-Rob, Watson, Zamir White, Dowdle, and Corum. Would you drop anyone for QJ and or Steele?
Well, I see what you mean by the huge bounce back. Probably Marv and JSN, huge bounce backs.
Yeah.
You can drop Dowdle.
Yes. Yeah. And now drop Dowdle probably for Steele first.
Yeah, because, your running backs are Brees, Charbonnet, who may only have a week or 2 left, Zamir, another handcuff with Corum. Yeah, get Steele. I prefer Steele. I'm probably still holding Zamir White for 1 more week here. And I think you still got to hold Christian Watson until Love comes back. Just don't put him in your lineup.
Right. And so now he's streaming. He's going with Fields since Love is out. But for this week, you prefer Fields, Goff, or Geno?
Lions get Cardinals, right?
Yeah, on the road.
I know it's on the road, but the weather's going to be fine. It's Arizona. It's going to be fine. I'm going Goff. Geno's interesting too, though, actually. Geno has a good matchup at home against your Dolphins.
I do like Geno this week.
It's close between Goff and Geno.
Actually, think about it. Yeah, it's not a good spot for Fields. I think I would drop Fields for either. I might go with my gut. I would say if Walker doesn't play, I would go Geno. Because I think they're going to throw it a lot again. All right, good to hear that you are back. Good to hear that Nasty FN just subscribed.
Thank you.
Not good to hear that he's down bad on running backs. Okay. Braylon Allen or Carson Steele to start. Not to pick up, to start.
I'm starting Carson Steele. I think he's going to get more touches. Robert Saleh even said, he talked up Braylon Allen, but then he ended it by saying, when Brees Hall needs a rest.
Right.
Carson Steele should get more work than Braylon Allen. I'm going Carson Steele.
Yeah, and here's the thing for if there are any Kareem Hunt truthers. First of all, Kareem Hunt was signed to a practice squad deal, and yeah, he might get, put back on the roster. It's going to take time. He just now joined an NFL team for the first time on Tuesday. He's not going to touch the ball much, if at all, this week. So it's still going to be Steele as RB1. So just go Steele. Daniel Hart. I know this is making a really big assumption that T. Higgins actually plays this year. But if he does, Higgins or Bowers.
Wow. If Higgins plays this week, I'm playing him. It's the Commanders. Give me Higgins. I mean, but if not, you got to go Bowers. He might not play. He probably won't play this week. Let's be real.
Yeah, just put Bowers in your lineup right now. Again, I want to see not just that Higgins is active, but like I'm 1,000% good, no limitations. I really want to be out there and win for my team, which is not what he's going to say. But just go Bowers right now. Cali Kid, full PPR: Connor Benson, Chase Brown, Elliott, Zamir White, Williams with the number 1 waiver pick, considering dropping Brown for Steele, but the number 1.
Yeah, I'm not doing number 1 for Steele. Again, unless it's one of those leagues where the number 1 where every week it changes, then sure, use a number 1 on Steele. But if it's like you use it and then you lose it, not for Steele.
Right. That's exactly it. I mean, I know you need some help at running back. A lot of us do, but yeah, it's not a slam dunk that Steele's going to be, him. Rusty Shackelford, correction. Kyler and Waddle for Brian Robinson and Olave. That's a little different.
Kyler Murray?
I guess so.
Or is that supposed to be Kyron? Oh, wait. Oh, K1 is Kyler Murray. That's right. Because he wears number 1. How could... Duh. His name starts with a K and he wears number 1. Obviously, he's K1. Obviously.
Should have known that.
Yeah, give me... I mean, unless you're going to have to start like Gardner Minshew at quarterback now or just somebody terrible, assuming you have a decent option at QB, yeah, give me Brian Robinson and Olave for sure.
Yeah, and you're dealing Kyler. I mean, I don't know who else your quarterback is, but I guess you don't need him. I don't know. That's a little odd. All right, let's do Cam the Ham.
Now that's a nickname.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Cam the Ham. We could do that for Sam Laporta. Sam the Ham. CMC, Mason, Henry, Mixon. Adams, Diggs. That's it. Just Adams, Diggs. I was expecting more receivers. Mayfield, Andrews. On the benches, Cooper, Moss, Irving, Pierce, Robinson, Goff, London. What are we doing with this roster? Yeah, I think we need more receivers or better receivers.
Yeah. Who are we? I mean, Cooper is not a sell high. Diggs probably still has some value. London did have a nice game. I mean, but the problem is if you trade, because you don't have CMC right now, but you got Mason at least. But if you trade Henry or Mixon, now your running backs are kind of hurting. Yeah, I don't know. This is tough. It's not like you have a position where I feel like, oh, you're deep at running back, but weak at wide receiver. So let's trade one of your running backs and help your wide receivers out. It's like you have good running backs, but you're not very deep there. You can't really afford to lose one. You have okay wide receivers, but you need them. You need those wide receivers. And again, you're not going to be able to trade like, hey, I'll give you Drake London for Jamar Chase. At least like Drake London was better than Chase in week 2. Like, I mean, maybe, but probably not, right? So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I mean, I think you can maybe try to upgrade from Diggs or try to trade Diggs while he's still kind of got that 2-touchdown game in people's minds, you know?
But I mean, you're not getting a better wide receiver for Diggs, right?
Might be one that I think is better. It's maybe not
true. That's true.
Maybe a 2-for-1. Look, find the Cup, Puka, Debo owner. Say, hey, I'll give you Diggs and Drake London for whoever your next, best wide receiver is, if it's somebody who happens to be really good. Maybe something like that. But I agree, you don't want to deal away one of your running backs because it's going to get thin real quick, So I'd hold on there. But even if you trade 2 receivers, I feel like, I'm okay with Cooper, believe it or not, just as much as I am with Diggs going forward. So London's on your bench. So maybe try a 2-for-1. All right, impromptu lightning rounds. As we continue to get caught up, let's do a couple of these non-super chats before we move on to the rest of the super chats, which hold tight, guys. If we did drop a super chat last 45 minutes, we're still getting there. Call of Duty Hype Man. Gesicki or Hunter Henry?
I think I got to give a slight edge to Gesicki against the Commanders.
This is like Kyler Murray's burner account, right? Connor Westfall. Is this real? Is my question. Is Keon Coleman for Ayuk a good trade?
No, it's a terrible trade. Terrible trade. Give me Ayuk by a mile.
Yeah, it's a good trade for somebody. All right, let's get to J-Law. It starts at London, Nabers, or Flowers this week.
I mean, if we're only starting one, I'm going Flowers.
Right. If that's the question, then that's the answer. All right, and let's do Black Bag again. Does Surtain shut down Evans or Godwin?
I mean, you got to think he's probably going to be mostly on Evans because Godwin plays predominantly out of the slot, and Surtain does cover those outside wide receivers. So it could be a down week for Evans. The potential is there because we've seen him shut down. He shut down DK week 1. Although last week it was it was Broncos last week, right? Or Steelers. Obviously Broncos. He's on the Broncos. Steelers.
Pickens?
Yeah, and Pickens actually could have had some big. Yeah, so I mean, it might not be Evans' best game, but I'm still starting Evans if I got him.
Yeah, regardless, you're still starting these guys. You have to, especially Godwin. Julio, what is up? 10-team PPR, stacked at running back. That's what we like to see. Got Gibbs, Kyron, Achane, and Mason. And Charbonnet is just kind of hanging out there, but not so great at receiver because AJ Brown, DJ Moore, JMO Worthy. All right, so who do we start out of these running backs? Who do we start?
So 2-2-1. Man. Well, you're probably going to flex a running back, so I'm going to go Gibbs, Achane, Mason.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to have AJ Brown this week, so Jameson, Williams, and I guess DJ Moore. Although, you know what? I might even just gamble on Worthy. What is DJ Moore's upside right now?
Yeah, you might as well take a shot on Worthy. I agree. JMO Worthy, Mason, Achane, Gibbs. You can sit Kyron just because you're stacked at running back, but also, man, that offense could struggle. So
why don't you try to trade one of those running backs and get a Jamar Chase? Get maybe a Tyreek Hill, like somebody that people are not excited about right now.
Yep. I agree. And you can trade Kyron and you obviously won't miss it. Packs for life, another Chase Brown for Zamir White. Sure.
Yep, just go with Zamir.
Nick L. Another 10-teamer. Kyler, Gibbs, Mason, Flowers, Harrison, Laporta, London on the benches. Cooks, Higgins, likely Terry Moss, Reed, Singletary, CMC. Anyone worth dropping? Would you drop anyone here? Maybe.
I mean, maybe maybe Moss, but he's still getting the touches, and they get the Commanders this week. What if he goes out there like has a Devin Singletary game? Why couldn't he have a Devin Singletary game this week?
Yeah, because it looks like Moss is the RB3 or RB4, kind of. Not very deep at running back here. I mean, I know you lost CMC, but you got Mason as the replacement. So,
Yeah, I don't really see. Like again, I don't want
Brandon
to just.
Cooks. You could drop Brandon Cooks, right?
I mean, yeah, you could probably drop Brandon Cooks. I guess it looks like maybe Jalen Tolbert's taking over that number 2 role, but like I know Moss and Singletary haven't been good, but it's hard for me to drop running backs getting 15 plus touches. It's just not, you just don't find those guys on the waiver wire all the time. You know what I mean?
Right. And you're pretty deep at running back. If you have Higgins, Reed, Terry on the bench, you can drop Cooks and pick up one of those running backs, depending on who's available. I mean, I would think Steele obviously is available. All right. Always available and still somehow on DVD is Shrek 2. Dynasty trade. Ooh. Traded Deshaun, Mason, and a second rounder for Waddle. This is a super flex league, if I recall.
Yeah, it's probably a good deal for you. You're getting a young stud wide receiver. You're getting rid of Deshaun Watson. Look, Mason has value right now, but I mean, is this it? Is CMC's career over? Is Mason? I mean, look, if like I think that's the only way you lose this deal is if CMC's career is over, and even then, I don't even know if you lose it because you're still getting Waddle. So yeah, I think this is a good move.
I think this might be a good deal for you. I know quarterback and super flex, but maybe just good to get out from under Deshaun Watson just before he loses any value at all, and just get that bad juju off your team. So yeah. I like this deal. This is good. Stephon Barr scored 57 this week. I'm guessing that wasn't enough to win. He is panicking. Got Lamar, Moss, Najee, Evans, Shakir, Andrews, Marcus Robinson, Kirk, Kupp, Myers, Palmer, Watson, CMC. All right, so CMC's on IR. You got Kupp. Kirk has sucked, so it's understandable.
I mean, you gotta. You can't with this team. You can't wait for CMC to come back. You can't wait for Kupp to come back because I mean you can't roll with Moss and Najee, Evans, Shakir, DeMarcus Robinson, Kirk, Myers. Like you can't roll with these guys. I mean, man.
Trade, get what you can for Kupp.
Yeah, get what you can for Kupp and CMC. Try to get 2 solid players, two good players. Same thing for CMC.
Yeah, I'm afraid you might have to. No choice here.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck.
Good luck.
I got another one. Start Drake London, Zay Flowers. Oh, we already did that one. Okay.
Yeah, Flowers.
Dropped another super chat. And then he did it again. All right. Well, J-Law, we got you there. We're going Zay Flowers. Oh, wait, what? I always say this is standard PPR.
Okay, Zay Flowers.
Still Zay Flowers. All right, Myra Williams. Welcome. Traded. Jameson Williams straight up for Godwin.
That's good. Give me Godwin. Give me guy. Look, Jameson, yeah, he'll be good this year, but give me Godwin. Give me Godwin.
Yes. I mean, I'm big on Jameson Williams, but not Chris Godwin big. That's the win. Good job. Poor boy Sin, DJ Moore for Najee.
Nah, I'll still hold DJ Moore here and hope it gets better. What are you really getting from Najee? What are you really getting here?
Yeah. I'd rather have DJ Moore. Henry, Wynn, Murray, and Mahomes at QB. Got Cook, Barkley, Dobbins, Pollard, Chubb, Kupp, Terry, Amari, Wilson, and JSN. And then Laporta. Okay, so this looks like a trade offer. Kincaid and Harrison for Cook and Pollard. I mean, look, I know Laporta is disappointed, but you're trading for a tight end that's been more disappointing. That's weird.
I
I
don't
don't know why
know.
you would trade 2 good running backs. I know you're like, oh, I can start Barkley and Dobbins and I'm good, but you're basically trading them just for Marvin Harrison. It's kind
Why
of
can't
weird that
you
you're
get?
getting
Yeah,
Kincaid.
I would probably just counter with like Harrison for Cook.
Yeah. Yeah, agree. I'm not sure why you're trading for Kincaid. So
Yeah, just counter with like Harrison for Cook, because you'll still have Barkley, Pollard, Dobbins, and now you'll have a nice upgrade at wide receiver.
all right. Yeah, agree there. Do a couple of quickies here, non-super chats, but some, I think, new viewers need some help. This is interesting dilemma, unfortunately. Kilted Devil Dog.
All right.
It says, do I put Cup or Pacheco in the IR spot?
It doesn't matter, but you can't drop either of these guys. So one goes in IR, one goes on the bench. It's just, you're going to have to, you can't drop one of these guys. So pick which one. I think Cup will probably be back sooner. I mean, it doesn't matter, because if Pacheco comes back, you just move him into the IR spot, right? So, but Cup should be back sooner, so I guess put him in the IR spot, or put Pacheco. I don't know. Does it matter? Does it even matter?
Probably not. They're both out several weeks. So, yeah, I don't drop either one. Agree.
No.
If you really, for some reason, like just can't afford, them occupying that real estate on your bench, maybe trade one. It's okay if you get comparable value, but you might not right now. Pedro Resto, Eckler or Najee in 1 PPR?
It's got to be Eckler. He'll catch more passes. Got to be Eckler.
I agree, especially this week. MC, JR, Etienne, Henry, Nabers, Flowers, Rice needs a running back, 2 receivers, and a flex.
All right, Etienne at running back, Flowers and Rice at wide receiver. We got to decide between Henry and Nabers and the flex. It's PPR. I guess go Nabers, even though I think he might be really bad. But it's PPR.
Man, I wonder if I'm going to be now 2 down on Nabers because of the matchup. It might be. I know it is PPR though, so Ravens. How do we feel Derrick Henry? I don't want to just sit Derrick Henry. It's not like it's a terrible matchup. I might go Henry, Flowers, Rice, and then flex Nabers. All right, PRF. 0-2, got AR-15 and K1. Wide receivers are Olave, St. Brown, JSN, Waddle. At halfback, got Gibbs, Jacobs, White, and then McBride.
How is this team? See, again, I ask, how is this team 0-2? I mean, I'm guessing you started Anthony Richardson this week. He wasn't very good. Olave, okay, hasn't been great, but St. Brown had a down week 1. JSN had a down week 1. I guess Waddle wasn't good week 2. I guess I can see it, because you haven't had – it's like you've had a week where you've had like some of your guys are good and some of them are busts, and then the other weeks the other guys are good and the other ones are busts, right? Exactly. You haven't had that week yet where like most of your guys are good, so I get it. But this team seems like it should not be 0-2, so I would not panic here at all. I mean, you got 2 stud quarterbacks, you got 2 stud wide receivers, plus 2 very good wide receivers. You got 2 stud running backs, a stud tight end. Yeah, I would not panic here. Being 0-2 isn't fun and you want to panic, but this team looks good. I wouldn't panic.
You have plenty of good players here. 0-2 is not the end of the world. I think you'll be okay.
Yep.
All right. But again, you don't need both those quarterbacks. Trade one to upgrade somewhere. Receiver, that's fine. Shane Howard, DK, Olave, Waddle, or Harris?
I mean, I'm calling Olave a boom this week, but I don't think I can start him over DK Metcalf.
It's either DK or Olave. Yeah.
I think I still got to go DK Metcalf. Yeah. The only reason I didn't call DK Metcalf a boom this week is because he boomed last week. It's like, hey, guys, the guy who just boomed is going to boom. Oh, aren't I so helpful?
Exactly. I know. That's the
like if
DK would
if DK would have had a down game last week, I probably would have picked him as a boom this week, but he boomed last week. So
right. Either one is fine, but let's go DK. All right, Jermaine Harris. Would you trade Kirk for Ty Chandler? You shouldn't have to trade for Ty Chandler. No.
Right.
Only have Bijan, okay, Chase Brown, and Brooks. I mean, look, if you drop Chase Brown for somebody, there's got to be somebody on waivers who is at least as good as Ty Chandler. Like, I know I said Ty Chandler is a decent waiver wire pickup. I'm not trading for Ty Chandler.
No, can't you drop Chase Brown for Steele or Braylon Allen or something?
Right. Let's do that. Elmer Sanchez, should I trade DK Mason for MHJ Walker?
These Mason questions.
That's an interesting one. I mean, Harrison and DK, that I don't know. Both guys did nothing week one, went off in week two. Harrison's, the one in that offense, but DK's the one in that offense. Walker, Mason. I mean, I still think I would give the edge to the Harrison Walker side. I do. I think you have to.
I mean, man. I guess I don't. It's not as close for me because I do still worry about Marvin Harrison. Like I know it's like okay, he was great this week, but again, he still only had 4 catches. Now, yes, 2 of them were huge touchdowns, but it wasn't like he was like okay, he got 10 targets and 7 catches. Okay, great. Like okay, cool. Like it could just as easily be this week where he gets 4 catches, but 2 of them aren't huge touchdowns, and it's like he was just okay again.
Well, I get that, but a part of it too is you remember they got up so big, so fast that they really didn't even throw the ball second half because they didn't need to.
True.
That's part of it. I mean, he was done for the day. He already like, okay, you're good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Harrison Walker side is probably safer because you don't have to worry about CMC coming back with Kenneth Walker. But man, I really do worry you're trading away this year's Kyrie. Like you're trading away a league-winning running back.
So this is a tough one. It's kind of a tough
for me. All these Mason questions are tough because, like, okay, if we knew CMC was out for the season, which side are you taking?
Okay, well, it's a pretty big if. You can't just throw.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like you have potentially a league-winning running back, whereas Walker I think will be very good. I don't know if is he going to be league-winning good.
I don't know. I mean, I can't say I view Mason as a straight up CMC replacement. He's been good, but he's also not catching 5-6 passes a game. So I think this is really close both ways. I would mitigate the risk of CMC coming back, but also I was slightly ahead. Harrison slightly ahead of DK in drafts, preseason valuation. Walker big on, obviously not the same as CMC, but Mason isn't CMC. So I don't know. I slightly lean the Harrison side, but this is really tough.
Yeah.
But let's keep going to Dion. Dropping Zeus for Carr to start him over Richardson.
I'm not doing that. If you said like, hey, Carr to start him over somebody terrible, sure. Like Caleb Williams, okay, sure. But Richardson could easily go out there this week and run for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Carr could easily go out there and throw for 3 interceptions. Like, we still have to remember who we're talking about here. You know what I mean? So,
right. And Richardson, you just start because he could always run a touchdown in. Just don't do this. Just go Richardson. Augustin Olvera, sell high on Godwin.
Again, always willing to sell high if you're actually selling high. Like if someone's like, hey, I'll give you, Jonathan Taylor for Godwin, or somebody's like, I'll give you Saquon Barkley for Godwin or whatever, like, sure, sell Godwin. But like, if somebody's like, I'll give you, Ramondre Stevenson for Godwin, or I'll give you Josh Jacobs for Godwin, I don't consider that selling high. Like, I just keep Godwin.
Right. It would have to be a legit stud. So depends. But not looking to sell high because, he's overachieving. So generally, no. Ooh, 2K. What is up? Okay, if you're adding Hunter Henry, would you drop the Muth or Chase Brown or Caleb Williams?
Pick one. Probably Chase Brown. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe Freiermuth. I mean, maybe there's still hope for Chase Brown. Like, what's the hope for Freiermuth? You're picking up a tight end, drop a tight end.
Yeah, exactly. And look, if this is one quarterback league, then why hold Caleb Williams? I mean, you could drop him too. So any of these, all of these, and drop them all, pick up 2 other guys besides Hunter Henry. Antoine is still here. Is Monty enough for Nabers?
No.
Cook?
James Cook, I would take for Nabers, yes.
Right. I think that's enough, yeah. Mark Cleveland. Here's your favorite. Another Mason question. Trading Mason and DJ Moore for Rice and Richardson.
I mean, you got to really need quarterback badly, I think, to do this.
Yeah, we're not fans of trading for a quarterback midseason, but I mean, I don't think so. I
mean, again, unless you're stuck, like you're like, my waivers are bare or whatever, and I don't know, I drafted Tua, now he's out, and now I have to play Skylar Thompson. Then maybe I say, okay, fine.
If it's a super flex league, sure, I'll do this.
Definitely.
If it's not, probably not. Kenneth Uko, what is up,
Kenneth?
All right, so he traded Ayuk and JMO for JK and Olave.
Well, this is, I mean, it's going to come down to J.K. Dobbins. If Dobbins does this all year, you're going to love this trade. If Dobbins is another one of these guys, because I remember, I think like 2 years ago, I was like super high on Etienne. I was like, you got to draft Etienne. And everybody's like, James Robinson is there. I'm like, he's coming back from Achilles. Don't even worry about James Robinson. And remember, like the first 4 games, James Robinson was incredible. And people were like, even I said, like, all right, I was wrong. James Robinson is a league winner. And then it was like the next game, he started like getting his snaps reduced. And then like 2 games later, they cut him or traded him or whatever. And then he was like done.
He got cut mid-season.
Yeah, that was it. He was done. If that's the route JK goes, like if all of a sudden it's like, hey, like all of a sudden that juice is a little gone because again he is recovering from Achilles or whatever, you're gonna regret this, I think. But we'll see.
I'll just say I think and I don't remember. I know Kenneth, you've been on here a lot lately. I don't remember who you have. If you're one of those CMC Pacheco, teams, and you're just desperate for running back, I think this is okay because the way I look at it, Ayuk, Olave, pretty comparable, right? I think it's fair. So you're basically trading Jameson Williams to get J.K. Dobbins. If Jameson Williams is like a third receiver, if you've got a good receiving core and he's maybe like your fourth or like a flex, and J.K. Dobbins immediately slots in as like your number 1 running back, okay, I get it. This is fine. Generally, I'd prefer the Ayuk's JMO side, but you might be better off with this trade. So Stephen Cotto, who to drop pick up. It's a 10-man PPR league. Got AR-15. Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, H.N. Mason, DJ Moore, Kincaid, Caleb Williams. Could probably drop him.
Yep.
Rome, Watson, Dotson.
Yep.
Probably drop him.
Yep.
Okay, Carr, Judy, Henry, Mostert.
Well, you got Anthony Richardson. I'm not picking up Carr. Who's your tight end? Kincaid. Yeah, like if you want to drop Caleb for Henry just in case Kincaid is terrible again and Henry is good, I'm okay with that because you do not need Caleb Williams. And I mean, you can drop Dotson for Mostert. Not that I'm high, or even Judy if you want, honestly. I mean, 1 target for 1 catch for 6 yards with AJ Brown out, and he played he played the second most snaps of wide receivers behind Devonta Smith. Like, yeah, you can drop Dotson for Judy or Mostert.
Exactly. There you go. All right. And then Anthony is in the house now. Late to the party. It's fine. Russell Wilson, it's probably not going to be a thing.
Not this week. I mean, Tomlin pretty much hinted at the fact that it's still going to be Fields. So, yeah.
Right. And I don't think it matters. George Pickens is quarterback proof. And he had asked earlier about the KC thing. We're highest on Carson Steele. He's the guy to add right now, not Kareem Hunt. And then another Anthony, Gian Gregorio. Welcome back again. Hey, 12-team PPR. CMC, Pacheco, Higgins, Ferguson are all out. Yes. Yes, they are. So, rolling with Waddle, Cooper, Deontay, Lockett, Myers, Ford, B-Rob, Schoonmaker.
All right.
Well,
good luck.
what can you do?
What can you do?
Well, B-Rob is looking really solid, so I think at least you have that. Manny Calderon, trading DK, Bobby Okirk, and May for Njoku, Singletary in a third round in a dynasty. Okay. Drake May, I don't know how to think about him for a while. Generally speaking, do you like this? I don't.
No. No. An injured tight end, a running back that's, yeah. In a third? Like DK alone is worth a first.
I mean, what are you really getting out of this?
Right. Well, I don't
Njoku?
even understand what's your advantage. Like, what's your advantage here?
Nah. I mean, if you haven't done this trade, don't do it. I mean, you're
Right.
in Dynasty. What is Singletary's value? Very little. A third round pick.
Maybe he's
nothing.
worth a third. Exactly.
I mean, you're trading potentially a good rookie quarterback. Maybe not. Whatever. You're trading DK Metcalf to get David Njoku. Basically, I don't like this at all. Sorry. Golden Ape 8001.
All right.
Got offered Kamara for Neighbors and Pickens. Is that right? Or is it or Pickens?
I mean, it's hard not to take Kamara right now, but at the same time, like, I mean, that regression is going to hit. It's going to hit hard.
I might take Kamara just for Neighbors straight up. I wouldn't do it for both, but if it's Kamara for Neighbors, I'll take Kamara for Neighbors in a redraft league.
Yeah, I would definitely take Kamara for Neighbors. I would probably take Kamara for Pickens. I don't know about both.
Yeah, and one of these guys, fine. If this guy's trying to sell, get the farm for Kamara because he's selling high, then nah. If he's just trying to extort you, you can pass. All right, let's go to Austin Lowe. Austin Lowe maybe has a question. Here it is. 10-team PPR. Mahomes, Saquon, Jacobs, Waddle, Wilson, Godwin, Kincaid, Shaheed, McConkey, Deontay, Likely, Benson, Brown, Charbonnet. 2-0. All right. Got Godwin. That's helpful. Shaheed. It's nice.
Yeah, but I feel like this is a good time to trade Shaheed.
Yeah, it's a 10-man league too.
You got Saquon, Jacobs, Waddle, who's going to be iffy for a while. Wilson, who, man, let's hope. You do have Godwin. Oh, man. Would have been great to trade Shaheed and Likely last week.
Yeah.
That Likely helium emptied out real quick.
Mm-hmm. Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. Man. Yeah, I'd like to trade Shaheed, but what are you getting back for Shaheed? Like, you're not getting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just sit tight. I don't see anything here that you can really do. Maybe Hope likely has another big game at some point, and then ship him off to some team that needs a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a really good starting lineup, but I agree your bench depth is iffy. Sharps is good right now. Benson, okay, stash if you have nobody better. Brown is looking droppable. Deontay is worth holding, but yeah, let's do this. Just try to sell high, not on Godwin, but on Shaheed. Otherwise, I think you're okay just playing the waiver wire. 10 team, you should have good enough options. Marcus, what is up, Marcus? With Debo out, still worth trading Ayuk and Olave for Jettis.
Okay, so you got Marcus is in a very strange league. I thought I knew his scoring, but I don't have any idea. Because he asked me a question about trading for Nico.
Yes.
And I was like, well, how many points did Nico score in your league? Thinking it was like normal PPR. And he had like 40 points. I'm like, how did Nico get 40 points in your league? Like, what is the scoring? I don't understand the scoring at all.
It was
I feel bad, Marcus. Like, I feel like I don't even know how to give you advice here. I thought it was just like points per carry and regular PPR. But no, it's obviously not because Nico had like 40 points.
And it's point per carry, not that matters for this trade. It's every player scores like 80 points, and he somehow has like 5 of the top 10 running backs and receivers, and he's still looking to trade. So I know, I'm like, I don't know. I guess do it.
I mean, I'm never going to say no to getting Justin Jefferson. I mean, this is a lot to give up for Justin Jefferson, but it's Justin Jefferson.
I think it's fine. Now, is this fine? Anthony Giangregorio got CMC, was offered James Cook, 1-for-1. You taking James Cook?
I mean, maybe ask for like. Don't ask for a stud wide receiver, but I mean, maybe ask for a good buy low, like Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper. Somebody like that who's got potential but hasn't shown it yet. Just see, like, will they throw those guys in? I mean, I don't know if they have those guys, of course, but like somebody like that. Maybe even Jaden Reed right now because he's coming off a horrible game.
I think that's reasonable. See if you can get a little bit more out of it. That's tough, but you know what? I don't mind doing this, getting a surefire RB1 for a guy who just ton of risk right now. I don't know. Getting nervous. Paul P, 12-team PPRs, 1-1. Got offered Olave and Dobbins for AJ Brown. Is that enough? He's got, besides AJ Brown, got Mike Evans, DJ Moore. Running backs are Henry, Monty, Mostert, Sharp, Dowdle, Algier.
I mean, again, this comes down to, do you believe in Dobbins? Do you believe that this is it? The guy who tore his ACL and his Achilles, that was all he needed. You know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe he just needed to like tear everything. So it's like now I can't tear anything. It's all torn. Everything's torn. There's nothing left to tear, right? It's like the Bionic Man now.
Yeah, they like, rebuilt him better.
It's all broken, so it can't break anymore. I mean, I think I gotta go with AJ Brown here, even though I do like Olave, and I think Olave will be really good. AJ Brown's a known stud. We know he's a stud. I mean, yeah, if Dobbins does this all year, maybe you're kicking yourself at the end of the year, like, oh my gosh, I could have had Dobbins, but I think I still got to go AJ Brown right now.
I'm going AJ Brown. Yeah, I think you're good with AJB. He shouldn't miss too much time. Yeah, don't have to take it. Doug Fenton picked up Cooks last week. Would you rather have, if this is JSN or it's supposed to be Shaheed is the last one?
It's got to be JSN. Got to be JSN. If JSN is available,
yes,
add him now.
Yeah. Uncle Drew, 12-team full PPR. Hurts, Barkley, Connor, Collins, Flowers, Bowers, Robinson, Jaleel, he's droppable. Brown, also droppable. Ladd, Cooks, possibly droppable. Kirk, and Puka. Okay, with this squad, would you send Puka or London or Pollard?
Man, I wish I could say send him for London.
I know, right? But it's like, I don't know if that's enough.
I know, because okay, it's easy to look and say, oh, look, he scored a touchdown. He had a nice game. We're back, baby. But if you watch that game, you don't really feel like we're back. I did you see the Manning cast of the 2-minute drive there? And they're talking about how like Matt Ryan was even talking about like how when he had a new offense, because Matt Ryan had a new offense almost every year of his career. So if anybody could speak on this, it's probably Matt Ryan. But he said he actually preferred the 2-minute drill. He's like, because you're not thinking as much. It's like base plays. It's plays you learned, you installed right away at the beginning of training camp. You've practiced them over and over and over again. Like like everything, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what the Falcons need to do right now, Kirk Cousins. Just run like 2-minute drill the whole game.
Agree, because Kirk Cousins, new system, not just new team, but remember, it's a new coaching staff and a first-time play caller at OC, so that excuses some of it. That said,
you got Nico and Flowers. It's not like you're crushed at wide receiver. I mean, I know you want somebody better than, I'm assuming that's DeMarcus Robinson or Lab McConkey or Kirk, but I think I just hold Puka.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's quite enough. And Pollard for Puka is not enough. I mean, Pollard isn't really that big an upgrade, if any, over Connor. So I wouldn't do it for Pollard for sure. Maggie, welcome back, Maggie. Here we go. Superflex, are you going Minshew or T-Law?
Who do the Raiders play again? I know the Jags played Buffalo in Buffalo. That's terrible.
Raiders get Carolina.
Just go Minshew. Although he may not throw much. But, I mean, Trevor Lawrence in Buffalo? No, thanks.
No. Go for Minshew Mania. And then if you have the choice between Bowers and McBride.
We're going to get this question. Here it comes. PTSD from last year. McBride.
Yeah, McBride has underachieved, but he's also due. He's got a lot of targets. Target share is good. Offense looks good. Great matchup against Detroit. So, yeah, definitely going to go McBride this week. Let's talk about Andres Camacho. This is an interesting trade. Sent this out. Derrick Henry and Devontae, Adams, for J-Mo and Garrett Wilson.
I think I would just take it back. I mean, I know Devontae just had a nice game. It's like, okay, fine. He's gonna have some nice games, but like I'm not feeling great about Garrett Wilson right now. And I mean, Jameson Williams is fine, but I think I want Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams here.
Agree. Gonna prefer that side. And look, he's saying later on he's got Kamara and Mason. You're not 100% for sure you're going to have Mason as your starter all year yet.
Right.
And just never know when injury strikes at running back. So it's close, but nah, I would keep it. And then Ellie Antoine. Thank you. Got the membership here. I don't know if there's a question. I'll look for one. If not, then we'll keep going. Let's go to Marcel Harris. 1 running back, 2 receiver, and a flex. CMC, K1. Waddle, Higgins, Flowers, MHJ, Mason. Trying to trade Mason and Waddle. Could get Taylor for Flowers and Mason, or Cup for Flowers. Okay, I'll have to figure out all that.
So you're saying somebody will give you JT for Flowers?
Take it.
I'm not trading Mason for Flowers, especially when you have CMC. You got no sweat CMC insurance. You don't even have to worry about it. Like,
is that Taylor for Flowers and Mason? I think that's what it is.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Or Cup for Flowers. Would you trade Cup for Flowers?
No, just keep Flowers.
No, he would be getting Cup.
No, just keep Flowers. Flowers is healthy.
No.
You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I wouldn't do either of those. And this is not a team that this is a team where I'm just fine with Mason. I don't
Yes.
feel like I need to like sell high on Mason because again, you got CMC. If for some reason CMC never comes back, it's fine. You're just rolling with Mason all year. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. I get trying to trade Waddle, but I'm not trying to trade Mason on this team, and you're not getting enough back. So those two trades, from what I can tell, are not good for you. Try to trade Waddle. Sure. All right, let's see. Frosty is saying that maybe we missed an Abumanu. Did we miss some? Okay, we're going to backtrack, which, by the way, maybe this is also a good time to remind everyone before we close out, because we're getting about to that time, but not yet. But if you missed it, either the beginning or the middle, Underdog is still one of our partners. In fact, they're our only partner that we work with, because Underdog is an amazing app. If you haven't tried it, it's the place to go for in the offseason best ball drafts. Now, during the season, your pick'ems. And if you haven't done the pick'ems, it's a lot of fun. You got a good chance to win. So if you haven't tried it, new customer special. Remember, this week for Thursday night, Aaron Rodgers just getting a yard. That's it. 1 yard. You sign up for Underdog for the first time, you get this free pick, and you still get also the CD Lamb free pick, whether you are new or not. You can go take advantage of that right now, but you have to have an account. So sign up and use code ENDGAME. You also get that 50% deposit match all the way up to $1,000 in bonus cash. All right. And then also, I guess I might as well also tell you before we get out of here, Draft Lane, if you didn't get your question answered, or you have something else you thought of, a follow-up, or just later this week something comes up, you want to get a hold of us, and it's not time for our live stream, just use the app. It's called Draft Lane. Download it for free on App Store or Play Store, and you also get $10 free credit right now if you are a new customer, but limited time. All right.
I think I found Abumanu's.
Yeah, that was like way back at the beginning. So apologies if we missed that one. That's on me. 12-team PPR. Give Ford to get Worthy or JMO.
Yeah, I prefer JMO. Prefer Jameson. But yes, I would probably trade Ford for either of these guys, assuming, of course, I'm gonna guess you don't need Ford, like you're deep at running back. So yeah, prefer Jameson.
Yeah, either way, I would do this. I mean, not completely panicked about Ford, losing touches, a lot of touches to Deontay Foreman for whatever reason. But I think I would still value both those receivers over him anyway. So this is good. I prefer JMO as well. I don't see a Frosty chat. Do you?
No, I didn't see Frosty.
Okay. Well, actually, Abumanu has some follow-up here. So let's do this. Also, offer Waddle to get Olave and Tank Dell.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get Olave and Dell for Waddle, do that. Definitely do that.
I would take Olave for Waddle straight up right now.
Yes. Same.
Man. Oh, you know what? Frosty's saying he said he donated an hour before the stream. It would have been the first one to show up. I still don't see it. I don't know if you do.
I don't see it, but you know what, Frosty? Just drop your, because I don't see it either. So just drop your just drop it in the regular comments. We'll answer it.
Yeah. All right. Juice wants to know, can you drop Gus? I know he's just dying. He's dying to drop Gus Edwards. So you can say I told you so. Yes, you can drop Gus and Javonte.
I'm not I mean, look, okay, I guess. I don't really want to drop these guys yet, but
why not? Why not? You're not missing anything here. Okay, so this is El Antoine's. Sorry, it's L, right? That's not. Is that Eli or L? Eli Antoine. How to make better. 2 QB, 10-team half PPR. Goff, Tua, Lamb, Wilson, Smith, Henry, Mason, Ingram, Flex, Jacobs, bench, Najee, Palmer, Sharp, McLaughlin, Nix, Judy, Chubb. Okay, this is a 10-teamer.
Wait, why are you picking up Andy Dalton? Don't pick up Andy Dalton. You got Goff. Don't pick up Andy Dalton. Unless I missed Superflex, which I don't think.
Well, it says 2 QB.
Okay, never mind. Pick up Dalton.
Yeah, because you
Picking
got
up
two.
Dalton, DeMarcus, and is that like we're supposed to tell you who else to pick up? You can drop McLaughlin
and Freiermuth.
Freiermuth. Is Gesicki out there? Is Henry out there? I'd prefer those guys over Freiermuth. Even Schoonmaker, if Ferguson is out again, he was solid.
That's true.
Over Freiermuth, look at those guys. You can drop McLaughlin.
It's a 10-team league. Gesicki's got to be available. Hunter Henry probably is too.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, I think you could drop Palmer in a 10-teamer.
Yeah.
Honestly.
McLaughlin can definitely be dropped.
Yeah, McLaughlin for sure. It's a 2 QB. I guess you can hold Knicks. Yeah.
Trades.
Not
a ton of trade value on the bench. There's really none, unless somebody will give you something for Charbonnet.
Or maybe something for Bo Nix just because it's 2 QB. But, I mean, what are you really getting for Nix?
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, not a whole lot to do trade-wise here. But you can make those waiver wire moves here. Speaking of tight ends, as you love to do, without Ingram, you're going, I think we already know. Parkinson, Henry, Gesicki, Ertz.
My order would be Gesicki, Henry. Hopefully you get one of those guys.
Right. All of a sudden, has the number one waiver wire priority. Quentin Johnson, Darnell Mooney, Carson Steele, Pirine, or none of the above.
None of the above. None of the above. I'm holding. Holding.
None of those guys are worth the number one. No, sorry. I know Carson Steele is fine to add, but not for the number one. Okay.
All right, here's Frosty. Here's Frosty.
Okay. Need to flip a receiver for a running back. Have Godwin, J-Mo, Ridley, Cooper. Thinking of targeting Pollard, B-Rob, White, Stevenson, or Jones. Ideas.
Yeah, I think the problem is Cooper. I don't think anybody wants Cooper right now. Ridley's coming off a nice game. I think Ridley could get you Stevenson. I think Ridley could get you Stevenson, B-Rob, or Pollard. That's what I would be looking to do, personally.
With this, I mean, I'm not down on Ridley, but obviously Ridley's going to have a lot more value right now than Cooper, I would think. So, yeah, you can flip Ridley for either B-Rob or Pollard is what I would do. I mean, if you can get Stevenson, I don't know. Do you think Ridley would get you Stevenson?
Maybe. I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance.
Yeah, try. I guess maybe try Ramondre first. All right, Mario. Should I trade Etienne or Mason for Hawkinson?
No, Hawkinson. I mean, best case middle of the season, and look, it's Sam Darnold now. It's not Kirk Cousins anymore. It's not the same. It's not last year's Hawkinson. No.
And then it says got offered Etienne for Devontae Smith, but you're saying you have Etienne, so if you can get Devontae Smith for Etienne, I would do that.
Yeah, I'd prefer Devontae Smith. I mean, unless Etienne and Mason are only running backs, and you need Etienne.
Right. Mary Jo, in her 8-team league, can you drop Gus to pick up Carson Steele? Sure.
I mean, in the 8-team league, yeah, you can drop Gus. I don't even know if you need Carson Steele in an 8-team league, though, but yes.
Yeah, but at least more upside than Gus at this point. So, yeah, you can do this, Mary Jo.
Gus. What's wrong with you, Gus?
And she wants to know for defense, Browns, Bucks, Bengals, Raiders.
I think Browns got to be the number one defense this week against Danny Boy.
Yeah.
At home against Daniel Jones, give me the Browns.
Yeah, Bucks obviously in a great spot because they get the Broncos, but I think the Browns are better. I mean, I know the Browns are a better defense, and it's just as good a matchup. So in this case, go Browns. All right. You know what? We will answer this question, Jason Manoa. Drake London for Dak Prescott.
Give me London. Definitely give me London here. I'm always going to take a good player over a QB. Again, unless you're starting just a horrible QB and there's nothing on waiver wire.
Trevor Lawrence.
No, just look. You say Love is out, okay, but he might. They're talking that he might be back next week. Just suck it up for one more week. Stream it. Go. Is Derek Carr available? Is Geno Smith available? Go stream one of those guys. Get Drake London, and then you should have Jordan Love back next week or the week after at the worst.
Right. You'll be fine. Not sure if real, but Hunter Bratcher here says Rico Dowdle for Bigsby and Mooney. Like Rico Dowdle has trade value.
Give me, yeah, exactly. Give me Bigsby and Mooney.
Yeah, that's interesting. If you can get something for Rico, sure, do it. Jennifer DeBraga. In Superflex, could you go Rashad White over Jared Goff?
No, not this week. Goff gets the Cardinals. I'm not worried about Goff laying a total egg here. Give me Goff.
Right. Okay, so this name, which I don't know if I will try to say, Kronos 8814, dropped the super chat down low. So here, DK or Stevenson for the flex.
It's got to be DK. It's got to be DK.
Yeah, and I think you're good. JJ Rice, Jacobs Mason. Yeah, DK over Stevenson. I mean, Stevenson's a solid start this week, but not over DK. All right, we are almost caught up, but let's keep going with the super chats. Next one is Kenneth Uko again. DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, and BTJ. Running backs are Ramondre, Zamir, and Gus, which is why he did that trade to get JK. So if you're rolling with my disappointing duo of guys I was big on, like Zamir White and Gus Edwards, do you like that any better now?
I mean, no. Again, it's going to come down. It's going to look. I love Olave. I think Olave could honestly be just as good or better than Ayuk this year. But I also like JMO. But it's still going to come down to JK. If JK is even if as long as JK is good enough, then this trade will be fine.
Yeah, like we were very skeptical about J.K. Dobbins staying healthy. He's done it for 2 games. Let's see if he can hold up for a whole season. Let's see, right? If he does, then this is a great deal for you. But did you die? How much fab on a 200 budget for Carson Steele?
15% if you're max. If you're desperate for a running back, like you're staring down, Chase Brown and Rico Dowdle as your RB2 this week.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it depends, but still, in general, I'm not going to be the one who's outbidding everyone for Carson Steele necessarily this week. I mean, if you're desperate, you can go to 20, 25% if you're desperate, but that's it. That's probably it. And we have to give a shout out to Big Chungus in the house. What is up? Glad to see we're doing well. We are doing well. Thank you. I'm glad you're doing well too.
Marvin Harrison was a big old L for us last week. I mean, yep.
I mean, it happens. We're not doubting him again. Just like we can't doubt J.K. Dobbins. Like, just start him. You have to start him. There you go. If you bust, he busts. Just start him. Speaking of Martin Harrison, what do you think about this? Ryan Dubovsky, Nico Collins for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Give me Nico. He's not a rookie. He's attached to CJ Stroud. Give me Nico.
Yeah, still got to go Nico. He's clearly the one in that offense. Carlos H. Quentin or Shakir?
If you're talking about this week, I'll go Shakir. I might even go Shakir rest of the season, but I'll go Shakir this week. It's not a bad matchup against the Jags. He looks like the number 1 wide receiver here for whatever that's worth. Quentin Johnson this week against the Steelers. Joey Porter Jr. Nah, I'm taking Shakir.
Right. Look, give props to Johnson for having a good game and worth a pickup, but this week is not the week to start him. So Shakir. Alexander's channel. Okay. How much are you paying up for Braylon Allen?
5% max.
Agreed.
You can go a little higher if you have Breece Hall.
No, that makes sense. Up to 8, maybe. Quentin Johnston.
8% max.
Hunter Henry.
Like 2%, 3% max. If you like really need a tight end. If you have a serviceable, like, so I'm in a league. I don't want to go too long on this, but I'm in a league where Evan Ingram got ruled out the last hour. We picked up Schoonmaker. He was fine for us. We put in a claim for Gesicki and Hunter Henry, but I didn't even bid any money because it's like, well, if we don't get him, we'll just roll a Schoonmaker. It's fine. But if you are desperate for tight end, 2 to 3%.
Agree. Gesicki might be out there still in your league. Tolbert.
5% max. Probably more like 3.
Super flex. Andy Dalton.
Okay, it's super flex. I mean, he's a red rifle. I think I could go up to 10% in super flex if he's going to be your QB3.
Like if, let's say you have Bryce Young. Steele, we already talked about a lot. Mooney after last week.
I know. I'm big on Mooney. I drafted him a ton in underdog, but that's different. I don't have to worry about am I starting him or not this week. 3 to 5% max.
Yeah, I think you can go 5. That's probably the most. And then Pierce.
I mean, look, I'm not all in on Pierce, but this is 2 weeks in a row. 8 to 10%. I think I would go for Pierce just in case. Just in case this is real.
That's probably the only one I'll differ on you with. I'm still a doubter. Call me a hater. I'll say $1 if
You're
I get
a hater.
him. If not, whatever.
You're a hater. You're an Alec Pierce hater.
That's it. This is the only possibility. All right, what about Devontae Blackstock in a 10-man league? 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 flex. Mahomes, Etienne, Jacobs, Lamb, Nico Schultz, J-Mo, Aaron Jones, Javonte Pollard, Worthy, Cooper. Who to pick up?
Who to lick up?
I
mean, it's 10 team. Yeah, I got it. It's 10 team. This is the problem. Like, who's out there? Because I mean, obviously we just covered the Andrew just asked about pretty much all the top waiver pickups this week. But in a 10 teamer, there might be people out there that shouldn't be out there still. Like maybe JSN got dropped after week 1. Maybe Deontay Johnson got dropped. You know what I mean? So, I mean, obviously the pickups this week are like Steele, Quentin Johnston, Braylon Allen, but there might be better players out there in a 10-teamer.
Exactly. So always is a good time to remind you, always check. You know who everyone else wants to pick up. You don't know who else was dropped. I mean, we had someone earlier who said Puka was dropped. Sure, he's hurt, but he's not out for the season. Always check to see what your league mates do and who they might drop that they shouldn't have dropped. So always check the date after waivers.
Yeah, that's definitely a good tip. Always check to see who is dropped. But one thing I always do before waivers is I always sort it by roster percentage because that shows you how much these guys are rostered across all leagues, not just your 10-team league. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, if somebody's available that's like 80% rostered, maybe that's the guy you should pick up. I mean, depending on who it is, you know what I mean? But sometimes you click on that roster thing and you're like, hey, wait a minute, like JSN's on the waiver wire. I didn't even know. Like I missed it. He got dropped last week or something.
Which segues perfectly to the next question. If a guy like JSN is available, you probably should pick him up. Can you drop Tyjae Spears for JSN or Carson?
Yeah, 100. I mean, 100% JSN should be the pickup here. Yeah.
Now, would you start JSN over Diggs?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's at least JSN has upside. Yes.
I would pick him up and start him over Diggs, not over everybody. All right, Master Zonk. Ooh, Devontae Smith and Mason for Chase. Just the question you wanted at the very end of a 3.5 hour stream.
These Mason questions, like, I mean, I think when you're getting somebody like Chase, just take Chase. Just take Chase.
If it was Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, I would feel a little better. I would say from like 100%. I mean, only if Mason is your 3rd, 4th running back. You know, you're not starting him. Sure. All right, and then we got Mr. Frausto. Should I trade Neighbors
Yes.
for Achane or Jacobs?
Yes,
Absolutely.
either. Prefer Achane. Mike McDaniel. Look, Achane could get hurt. He's undersized. Mike McDaniel coming out yesterday saying, like, we need to get this guy more touches. Like, what do you mean more touches? I mean, what do you mean? Guy got like almost 30 touches. What are you trying to kill this guy? But yeah, I would trade Neighbors for either of these guys.
Yeah. Either one. Definitely a good move. Brian Babulik again. Kyron for Jefferson.
Gotta go Jefferson. Give me Jefferson.
Definitely Jefferson. All right. And then Oscar Romero, 14-teamer, half PPR, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex. Hurts, HN Najee, Chase Brown, Harrison Neighbors, Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I would use the number 1 on JSN for sure. Definitely. That's a guy, like, JSNs aren't going to pop up on the waiver wire every week. Yes, use the number 1 on JSN. I think it's funny, and I'm not picking on you, Oscar, because a lot of people do this. When, like, I'm reading this question, I'm thinking, okay. Well, I mean, I guess he did have like a 2. Are we also setting his lineup here? Is that why he said 2 running back, 2 receiver, and a flex?
I guess so. I mean, I don't see a whole lot there. HN has to be Najee.
Yeah, HN, Najee, Harrison Rice. I mean, I know you're picking up JSN, but I think I'm still flexing. I can't tell you not to start Neighbors.
I can. I'll start JSN. Let's start JSN over Neighbors this week.
I mean, JSN had like a bigger game than Neighbors, didn't he? Actually,
yeah,
just as big.
And this is like you were saying, like in our leagues, like people aren't dropping JSN, so it's just shocking now. It's occurring to me how many leagues people just gave up on him after one game.
Yep,
one game.
Done.
Just
Done.
like
that's it. I've seen enough.
He's a bum. Yeah. Caleb, 10-man PPR, have JJ, Moore, Debo, Cook, Kamara, Barkley. Someone offered Tyreek Hill for Barkley and took it. Am I cooked?
I mean, no, you can't be cooked getting Tyreek Hill, and look, Tua is going to be back. I think this is maybe I might have just kept Barkley here to not deal with the potential Tua issue, but there's no way you can be cooked with Tyreek Hill. No.
But I like how you asked this after you accepted the trade, and not before. No, you're fine here. Let me see. You got JJ Moore, Debo, Cook. You Cook and Kamara, right? James Cook, I'm assuming, and Kamara. Yeah, I think you're fine.
Yeah, you're not cooked.
Tegan Powell traded Pickens for Puka and Ford for Keon. Separate deals. Win or loss?
Ford for Keon, I'm gonna say a wash. Maybe right now I'm just gonna say a wash. It's too soon. Maybe Ford's losing touches. Maybe Keon will come on. It's too soon. I'm just gonna say a wash. I think Pickens for Puka, it will be a win for you. But it's not gonna feel like it for a long time. It's gonna feel like a major loss for 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to grade either of these trades. They're very much to be determined. I mean, I'm not in on Keon Coleman still, but maybe toward the second half of the season, week 10 on, he starts to come on. Ford starts to lose touches when Chubb comes back. So it could be a win. Pickens for Puka. Right now, I'd rather have Pickens, but if Puka comes back full strength, it's a win. So to be determined. I don't know. Joe Castles wants to know about this one for Waddle. Kelsey?
Waddle. Give me Waddle. I already said I think I'm not feeling good about Kelsey. Give me Waddle.
Yeah. Not enough. Not this version of Kelsey. And so I just want to put this username up. Rigby Wormbrain.
All right.
Wants to know if we can trust Waddle. I don't.
No, you can't trust him, but at the same time, I'm not just outright benching Waddle, but I think he's more like a wide receiver 3 flex type start now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not benching him for like Alec Pierce or, Josh Palmer or something, but definitely going to be risky. But Chris Laborde, hey, we are buying the JSN breakout and we're picking him up if he was dropped.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like, I know it's one game. Like, people after one game are like, oh, that's it. Bum, washed. Are we going to be too quick now to say, this is it? It's happening after the second game?
I mean, maybe, but I'm still, again, you want to be shooting for the upside. You want to be thinking of, like, you can't always be thinking of, like, the bad part, like, right? Like, and honestly, this is like a life lesson. But, like, if you are always thinking about, like, ooh, what could happen? Ooh, what bad could happen? Well, you're never going to go anywhere. You got to think about, like, okay, was week 2 just a mirage? Do we look back and say, wow, week 2, that was an outlier? Maybe, possibly. And if it is, it is. But if it's not, and you're like, well, I think week 2 is an outlier, I'm not gonna pick up JSN, you're gonna really be kicking yourself. So,
well, I mean, week 2 just totally feeds into my confirmation bias because I was big on JSN breakout video, sleeper video, must-have video. We all watched the off-season stuff, so yeah, I'll buy it because I was definitely in on that. And then let's give the last word to Python. Trying to bring back 3 QB. Oh, I don't know. It's hard enough to get 1 QB.
I know. 3 QB, you'd have to have, it'd be like an 8-team league. You can't even, like a 10-team league, that's almost every QB.
It's hard enough to find a QB. Anyway, actually, I mean, maybe. If you drop JSN after week 1, you're definitely not doing it right.
Right.
So, all right. We're out of here for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for the questions. And of course, don't forget to check out Start Sit videos for week 3 already dropping, along with a whole lot more. So if you haven't subscribed, of course, you should do that now and hit the notification bell so you know exactly when we go live every single day, basically, except Fridays. We need at least one night off. And then don't forget, if you still have questions, things you think about later, or you just want to check it out, try the Draft Lane app. You can do all the same stuff on there. Waiver wire, trade, start sit questions, or just general questions. This is a way you can just type in the chat, just type a question and get our feedback. You can do that at any time. So check it out. It's free to download, App Store, Play Store. And again, just for signing in right now, you log in, you connect your Yahoo or Sleeper Leagues to it. And just for getting that app, new customers for limited time get a $10 credit to use towards any of those questions or features. All right, guys. Appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next stream.